Super Television. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Race Running. In 2014, the weather was hot in August. On this wide road, Jing was chased by someone and ran like a grandson through several streets. A group of people were chasing behind him. Damn it, Jing cursed inwardly. Today was extremely unlucky. He was dumped by his girlfriend who he had been dating for several years in the morning, and was fired by the company manager at noon. Now it was even worse. He was chased by someone and ran for thousands of meters. He was almost exhausted. Stop, thief. Don't run, everyone catch the thief. Asshole, don't run so fast, damn. Jing cursed inwardly, opened his mouth and gasped for air. Have gangsters learned to strategize and stand on the moral high ground these days? Are they still allowed to be mixed up? Jing, 23 years old this year, was a junior at a fake university in Suzhou. Seeing that he was about to be promoted to a senior, he took advantage of the holiday to find a job to earn some living expenses. But he didn't expect that he worked for a month in vain. Not only did he not get any money, but he also got into trouble. Thief, look at my soy sauce. Look at my flying shoes attack. Bang bang. After struggling to avoid a series of hidden weapons from the aunt and the child, Jing didn't care to think too much, turned around and ran into another intersection with his head shrunk. Can't stop. Definitely can't stop. Jing spread his legs and continued to run wildly. Originally, the three gangsters who chased up to find trouble couldn't beat them, but he didn't expect that the gangsters were intellectual talents, and they pulled up a large group of people to help them without any soldiers. Wang Shugo, I'm not done with you. Jing howled wildly, wiped the sweat off his face, and continued to run with a flushed face. Wang Shugo was the department manager who fired Jing. During the internship period, college students have low wages, and they can be cut like leeks. Jing, who was fired, just argued with him a few times, but he never thought that not only was he fired and kicked out by the company security, but on the way back to the dormitory, he was chased by three gangsters and played a game of catching thieves. Today may not be a good day to go out, or it may be a bad day for Jing. His girlfriend cheated on him, he was fired by the company, and the gangsters caught a thief. He just turned into an alley and found sadly that it turned out to be a dead end. The thief is here. Don't let him run away. There is no way to go here. Catch him and send him to the police station. Beat him first. I'm so tired. Damn it. The shouts of the crowd behind him were deafening. Jing didn't even have time to wipe the sweat on his forehead. He hurriedly looked for a way to escape. This lane is not narrow, and there are small supermarkets and repair shops on the side of the street. Maybe because of the street maintenance, a blue iron wall was erected at the end of the lane to prevent pedestrians from passing by. Without caring about so much, Jing turned around and went into a home appliance repair shop. He couldn't beat the three thugs, not to mention the crowd that was at least dozens of people away. If he fell into their hands, he would definitely not have a good ending. If he could get in and out intact, it could be regarded as the merits of his ancestors. The repair shop is not big. There is only a counter when you enter the room. There are many monitors, circuit boards, speakers and other sundries around the counter. There is also a middle-aged man in his 40s sitting behind the counter. Seeing Jing coming in sweating profusely, the middle-aged man was stunned. Young man, do you want to repair something? Haha, no, no. Seeing the middle-aged man frown, Jing thought, boss, do you have any second-hand goods? I'll buy one that works. There are quite a few second-hand ones. What do you want to buy? The middle-aged man smiled slightly. There was no reason to be scornful when business came to him. Jing looked at the things in the store while calculating what he could buy with his few hundred yuan without breaking a sweat. Let's take this one. How much is it? The middle-aged shop owner was slightly stunned. What Jing was referring to was a small car-mounted TV. It was slightly smaller than a shoebox. It was colorful, but the problem was that perhaps only when you lie in bed and watch it can you show the existence of this TV. This one? Well, this one. Li Jing nodded. The noise outside had already been heard. The masses still had not lost their mentality of joining in the fun of catching thieves. There was no time for nonsense. The main thing was to reach a deal as soon as possible and escape. 300. Take it if you want it. Okay. Without caring about the pain or bargaining, Li Jing gritted his teeth and took out a few remaining bills to pay, picking up the TV as big as a shoebox. Li Jing continued, "Boss, do you have a back door?" "Yes, yes. What's the matter?" The middle-aged shop owner frowned. Li Jing didn't look like a rich man. He didn't bargain when buying things. Now he asked about the back door, which made him feel a little weird. Well, I'm a student of the School of Mechanical Engineering." Li Jing took out his student ID and showed it to the shop owner, and then said, "I'm here to play during the holiday." Who knows how I offended two gangsters? He's here. Come here quickly. Before Li Jing finished speaking, at the door of the store, a young man was looking inside. After seeing Li Jing, the young man retracted his neck and seemed to be going to call someone. The shop owner frowned even more. No one wanted to get involved in trouble, so as not to be implicated. "Boss, can I borrow your back door? When they come, you can just say I ran out of the back door. They will chase me and won't stay to trouble you." Li Jing waved the TV in front of the shop owner. With sympathy, morality, and face, the shop owner would give in as long as he was not a vicious person. The shop owner frowned and thought for a moment, then waved his hand helplessly. "Let's go. Let's go. Go straight to the back, push open the small door and you will see the back alley." "Thank you, thank you." Li Jing thanked him repeatedly, and before he could say anything more, he ran to the back door with the TV in his arms. The room here was not big, and it was only a few steps away. Li Jing saw a small wooden door as he was told, pushed it open and went out, and there was indeed a straight alley outside the door. Running all the way, he could vaguely hear the noise coming from the shop behind. Li Jing had to be thankful that the person who had looked out before was a young man, not a middle-aged woman. Otherwise, the shop owner would never believe that the middle-aged woman was a gangster. After running out of the alley, Li Jing took a taxi back to the dormitory. He felt that he could not stand it any longer. After running for such a long time, coupled with being dumped just now, it was simply a double blow to his mind and body. He was exhausted both physically and mentally. Moving his feet, Li Jing slowly climbed to the 5th floor of the dormitory. Room 5017. The accommodation conditions here are still good. The teaching quality of the fake university is not good, so they can only work harder on the treatment of students. Chapter 2: The World of Kung Fu. Click. After opening the door, Li Jing went straight into the bedroom and fell on his bed, not wanting to move at all. There are 2 rooms in the dormitory, a living room and a bedroom. There are 4 students living here, including Li Jing. In addition to Li Jian, who does not live in the dormitory all year round, there are 2 people named Wang Bao and Zhu Ting who live here. "Hey, fatty, what's wrong with brother Jing?" Wang Bao, who was playing games in the living room, saw Li Jing enter the bedroom without saying a word. He turned his head and looked at Zhu Ting on the side. "How should I know? But coming back at this time, I guess nothing good will happen." Zhu Ting looked at his phone and saw that it was only 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He shook his fat head and curled his lips. "Well, ask him during dinner." Wang Bao nodded. He and Zhu Ting are simply 2 extremes. Zhu Ting is fat, at least 180 pounds, no doubt, while Wang Bao is skinny, black and has a pair of eyes, a typical 4-eyed frog. The fat and thin 2 people were mumbling in the living room. Li Jing in the bedroom was lying on the bed and not sleeping. How could he sleep? He stared at the shoebox TV on the bedside without blinking, but his mind was messy thinking about a series of things that happened. Now that the senior year is about to start in September, Li Jing didn't plan to ask his family for money again. Unfortunately, his plan to work part-time to earn living expenses during the holidays is now completely ruined. There is less than 1,000 yuan left. Now he bought a useless TV to save his life. If he didn't have some reason, Li Jing would want to smash it to pieces immediately to vent his anger. The job is gone, and his girlfriend cheated on him and broke up. Is this the so-called low point in life? Li Jing is not a person who is frustrated or weird. He is 23 years old this year, 1.78 meters tall, well-proportioned, and handsome, he can be regarded as an upper-middle-class appearance. Unfortunately, there are only a few words: poor, no money, and a stinky loser. Click. The door was pushed open. "Brother Jing, it's time to eat." Fatty bought it. Wang Bao's dark face with eyes poked in at the bedroom door. "Yeah, got it." Li Jing came back to his senses and moved his posture on the bed. He just wanted to turn over, but because he hadn't moved for more than 2 hours, his hands and feet were a little numb. He slowly got out of bed and stretched his hands and feet a little. When he came to the living room, Wang Bao and Zhu Ting were already eating at the desk. Li Jing slowly walked to the side and sat down, grabbed the chopsticks, and ate the things on the table that he couldn't even see clearly. Wang Bao and Zhu Ting were both stunned. They looked at each other and didn't know where to start. "Hey, Brother Jing, did something happen?" Wang Bao swallowed a quail egg in a spicy hot pot and spoke first. "Yeah, what's wrong with you?" Zhu Ting also echoed. Li Jing paused. "Nothing. I was just fired by the company." "Fired?" The two of them rolled their eyes. They had been together for several years and knew each other's situation very well, except for Zhu Ting, whose family was better off. Li Jing and Wang Bao were both from ordinary families. Going to college was already a burden. "I wanted to be self-reliant, but I didn't know where to start. Now I was fired before I got paid." It was not a pleasant problem. The three of them ate a tasteless dinner in silence. Wang Bao wanted to enlighten Li Jing, but he didn't say anything several times. He was the same. He was a senior and was about to face the society. It was difficult to find a job and even more difficult to find a wife. These were all very realistic problems. After a simple tidying up, Li Jing returned to the bed and continued to lie down. While fiddling with the TV at the head of the bed, he seemed to be distracted and thinking about his own problems. Senior year, work, family, career, money, women, muddle-headed, mediocre, living off my parents. This is what I am like. After thinking about it for a long time, Li Jing didn't know how long he had been tossing and turning. Maybe he was really tired. He slowly fell asleep. No one spoke in the dormitory. Everything around him seemed to be quiet. Time continued to move forward, and midnight was about to come. Da-da-da-da-da. The apple-shaped alarm clock hung on the wall. The second hand moved gently. It was almost midnight. Ding ding tilde. A slight sound came out, as if even the TV on the bedside was affected and shook slightly. In just a breath, the electric light and sound flashed at the same time. A black and white snowflake suddenly appeared on the screen of the TV that was not plugged in. The weird scene continued, but unfortunately no one who had fallen asleep in the bedroom saw it. The black and white snowflakes on the screen were still flashing, and the surrounding space seemed to shake slowly. Li Jing was still sleeping soundly, but the space and time here were no longer coordinated. It seemed neither fast nor slow, neither still nor moving. It was only a few seconds, but it seemed so long and sad. The second hand continued to tick. When this space calmed down, time was only moving at 12:01 midnight. Everything before seemed to disappear like a flash in the pan, but Li Jing on the bed had disappeared at this moment. Giggle tilde woof woof tilde morning. Morning, good morning, good morning. Last night a noisy voice came, and Li Jing frowned. Just when he wanted to turn over and continue sleeping, he suddenly felt something was wrong. He seemed to be lying on the cold ground. Cold, hard and uncomfortable. Cough cough tilde. He opened his eyes in a daze and coughed twice as if he was carsick. He shook his head to come back to his senses, but was stunned by what he saw. The crowd, a chaotic crowd, seemed to be busy after getting up early in the morning. Most of these people were busy, washing, cooking, and busy with their own things. Unfortunately, these are not the main points. The main point is that the buildings around the crowd are dilapidated. The clothes worn by these people are like the products before liberation. They are rustic and backward. Even in the countryside, they can be regarded as antiques. Li Jing, who was confused, opened his mouth, shook his head, and looked up. There was an arched iron-frame doorplate not far away. Pig Cage City? Li Jing opened his mouth even wider, and his eyes seemed to be distracted. He was just sleeping in the dormitory. What was going on now? Prank? Who would be so bored? With his wealth, this kind of thing could never happen. Acting? There was no cameraman at all. Traveling through time? It seemed that this most outrageous fantasy was the most reasonable explanation for the incident in front of him. Shaking his head, Li Jing stood up and brushed off the dirt on his body. Is it Stephen Chow's Kung Fu? I watched it several times back then. I have a very deep memory of the slum pig cage village. At least I still know the characters and the plot. Li Jing smiled self-deprecatingly. He would never have thought that time travel, which was just a product of fantasy, would actually happen to him. He was just a poor college student. If he couldn't make it in the real world, it was impossible for him to reach a high level in the movie world. Chapter 3, Barbershop. Li Jing walked into the gate of the fortress. Whether it is kung fu or not, you can tell by looking at it. This fortress is not big. 3 dilapidated old buildings form a semicircle. The only exit left is the direction of the house number. The building is not high, only 4 floors, and the people living there are all poor civilians. Along the way, I saw a few familiar characters, including Ku Likian, a master of 10 legs who carries bags, Yao Zagi, a master of stick techniques who runs a snack bar, Lao Tuzi, a master of iron wire fist in the tailor shop, and Jiang Bao in the barber shop. He is easy to be discovered with his pants showing half of his buttocks. Li Jing has the deepest impression of him in the movie Shaolin Soccer. The fortress is not big, and it takes only a few steps to walk around. Although the appearance of these people is slightly different from that in the movie, they can still be recognized at a glance. But Li Jing's brows are locked tighter. Is it really time travel? If so, the days to come will definitely be more difficult. In college, you can live off your parents, but you can always survive. What can you do here? Carry bags? I don't have the strength, so I join the underworld. I can't hack people at all, so I do some small business with the knowledge I learned. Haha. I don't know if I can have a hot meal today. Li Jing knocked his head with a headache. He was penniless and didn't have any skills. Let's not talk about how he came here. The problem now has become whether he can survive here. Sir, do you want a haircut? I'm very skilled. Li Jing was stunned, and when he came to his senses, he found that he had unknowingly walked to the exposed buttocks barber shop again. It's called a barber shop, but it's actually a simple shack with a chair and some tools. Maybe this is the minimum configuration of a hair salon. I told a no cut. Li Jing shook his head and refused. He came here when he was sleeping. He was wearing a vest and shorts, and he didn't even bring a mobile phone or a watch. He looked even more shabby than Jiang Bao. At least Jiang Bao had hair wax on his head, and his hair was combed meticulously, shining, and he looked naturally beautiful. Hearing Li Jing say that he would not cut his hair, Jiang Bao sat down and drank the porridge, not even bothering to say another word. Li Jing was a little embarrassed seeing this, and smiled slightly to cover it up. Little brother, what's your name? Sizzle tilde. Jiang Bao continued to drink the porridge. Ha, little brother, I came to seek refuge with my relatives, and I was robbed when I came. Look at me. Everything was taken away. Not even my clothes were left. Alas, Li Jing sighed at the end, and his face was as sad as it could be. Jiang Bao, who was thick-skinned but not stupid, looked up at Li Jing after hearing this, and then curled his lips. Put on some makeup first. I can tell from your clean face that you are not a swindler. You want to deceive me? It's not that easy. Bang! As he said this, Jiang Bao put the bowl down heavily, stood up and faced Li Jing straight. This kind of momentum of who else but me made Li Jing's eyelids twitch. He was afraid that Jiang Bao's pants would fall off again if he was not careful. If that happened, he would be labeled as a pervert who molested a boy, and he would not be able to stay in this slum. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. I didn't expect the hero's eyes to be so sharp that he saw through me at a glance. To be honest, I heard that there is a peerless master here, so I ran away from home and came here to become his disciple. Jiang Bao's eyes lit up, and his momentum became stronger. He, you have good vision. The peerless master you are looking for is me. As he spoke, Jiang Bao turned around and walked around the barber's chair. Ha, hey. Hey Todo. While automatically dubbing, Jiang Bao gestured the unknown toad fist. Li Jing was even more frightened watching from the side. It was the same thing again. He was afraid that Jiang Bao's pants would fall off. Is it really so difficult to deal with? Li Jing cursed inwardly. His original intention was to inquire about the current time period and see if Jing Zai had come to the barber shop to extort money at this time. It was just a small matter. Unfortunately, ordinary people could not get close to Jiang Bao, a master. It was difficult to talk to him and establish a relationship. He was simply a natural expert in digging ditches. Master, let's put aside the matter of learning martial arts for now and ask you about someone. Jiang Bao's boxing skills were endless, so Li Jing had to interrupt him. With the title of master, Jiang Bao's momentum suddenly rose to the sky, and his small chest slapped loudly. Well, tell me, there is nothing I don't know here. Have you encountered two bastards who call themselves Axe Gang to blackmail you? It's better to ask directly. Jiang Bao's aura is too strong, and Li Jing can already feel cold sweat on his forehead. Axe Gang? I'm not afraid. Blackmail me? I'm not afraid either. Even if they kill one of me, there are thousands more behind me. Li Jing quickly stepped forward and covered Jiang Bao's stinky mouth with his hand. Horrible. So terrible. Is this the code line for a gang fight? At this time, many people outside the barber shop were looking over here. Li Jing's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Do you have to be so lame? Do you still let people talk properly? Do you still let people get along? You are so arrogant. Don't your family members care? Peerless master, I'm just asking about the two bastards. I have a grudge against the Axe Gang. Can't you just say something straightforward? Li Jing was helpless. Really helpless. Woo woo woo. Jiang Bao's two innocent big eyes made Li Jing go crazy. Li Jing then realized that his hand was still covering his mouth. I'll let go, and you can just say you've seen him, or you haven't, okay? Seeing Jiang Bao nod, Li Jing also let go. It's not that serious. If he hadn't stopped him early, he would have been surrounded by the crowd. I haven't seen him. Oh, thank you, peerless master. I won't bother you anymore. See you later. Li Jing waved his hand and quickly escaped from the barber shack. He couldn't stay here for long. Jiang Bao's aura was too powerful. It was estimated that just a few words would make people want to die. Pretending not to see Jiang Bao's move to keep him as a disciple, Li Jing ran all the way and ran directly out of Pig Cage City. This world seems to be kung fu without a doubt, and Jiang Bao has not seen Jing Zai yet, which means that the plot has not yet begun, but the specific time needs further testing. This is a very simple thing. It can be seen at a glance who is the world in Shanghai today. Pig Cage City is not far from the center of Shanghai. When watching the movie, the Axe Gang can see the signal and quickly appear on the scene, which explains the problem. Moreover, in this era, Shanghai's economy has not yet experienced a period of great development, which means that its area cannot be as vast as it will be in the future. Chapter 4, Bustling City. Li Jing walked and thought all the way. He found out the direction to the city center by asking anyone. Understanding the situation is only the first step. Next, he needs to find a way to survive, which is an urgent problem. At least having a full meal is the most important thing. He walked along the main road and it was only around 10 o'clock in the morning when he reached the city center, which was less than 2 hours. At this time, Shanghai Beach may be the most prosperous place in the country. Men are dressed in suits and women are wearing cheongsams. There are cars and crowds on the streets, and there are many entertainment venues around. A series of billboards such as Monopoly, Metropolis, Columbia, etc. are colorfully hung on both sides of the street. There are casinos, tobacco shops, and hotels, which are prosperous. Li Jing stood at the intersection and watched for more than 10 minutes. It's not that he has never seen more prosperous things, but the unique atmosphere of this era is blowing in his face, so he has to stay where he is to look up and feel it. This is a feeling that cannot be described in words. The confusion of time, the essence of history, the yearning of the predecessors, all of this is in front of us, but it seems so far away, as if a dream has been wiped out in the blink of an eye. Hey, boy, are you looking for death? Get out of here. A black car woke Li Jing up. Ignoring the owner's dirty words, Li Jing dodged and made way for the antique. The toad-like body of the car, the beeping horn, the cursing owner, rushed all the way, but what was left was a banknote that fell with the wind. Li Jing bent down and picked up this banknote of unknown denomination and unknown purchasing power. To send away beggars? Well, At least dinner should be settled. Li Jing smiled slightly, not caring about the so-called dignity issue at all. Those who talk about dignity are just looking for something to do when they are full. If they throw away the banknotes in their hands, Li Jing feels that they are really stupid. 10 yuan, it's not a small amount. I remember that Jing Zai only spent this much money to buy Tathagata palm when he was a child. It should be no problem to have a meal. The monthly rent of the landlady seems to be only 10 yuan. If you save money, it may be enough to get you through several days. Shaking his head, Li Jing wanted to put the money away but found that there was not even a pocket. The pants were only worn when sleeping, and there were no pockets at all. It's okay that he had a miserable life in school and reality, but it's so miserable after traveling through time. What a big task it takes to exhaust his mind and starve his body. He lost his love, lost his job, was poor, and he didn't even have a pair of pants with pockets after traveling through time. Li Jing felt that the hungry people squatting on the street seemed to look at him with contempt. Damn it, I don't believe it. A fake travel through time can happen to me. I don't believe I can't make a living. Fuck. Cursing inwardly a few times, Li Jing cheered himself up. At this time, he had no relatives and no possessions. He had reached the point of being at the end of his rope. It was better to rely on himself than on others. He originally worked to be able to be self-reliant and no longer cheat his parents. Now all his back roads were blocked and his family was in a mess. Everything had to start from the beginning, no doubt about it. Come on, everything. Starving to death is death, and eating to death is also death. But the difference lies in whether you have lived in vain. With 10 yuan in hand, Li Jing walked away from this street corner. There was no way out, so he had to be self-reliant. Walking on the street, Li Jing did not use the money to eat or buy clothes, but found a store and directly spent 2 yuan to buy a set of chess, and then exchanged the remaining money into coins. After leaving the store, Li Jing went to a street corner that he had found when he came. This is a gathering place for coolies. There are quite a few people, squatting on the ground smoking, eating, and lying around. Li Jing found a clean spot nearby, sat cross-legged on the ground, and took out the chess pieces and set them up. Play chess, $1 a game, $2 if you lose. Hurry up, double the money, time won't wait. With a shout, all the coolies around looked over. Chess is not a difficult job. You may not be proficient in it, but you can always say you can play it. Plus the gambling nature, coolies who can't enter the casino don't have much entertainment, and $1 or $2 is not a big deal. In a short while, Li Jing was surrounded by a crowd, and only one person could play at a time, and most of them were just watching and joining in the fun. Li Jing didn't have many other abilities, but he was a little expert in playing chess and games. The people playing against him were not very old at this time. After all, there couldn't be old people working as coolies, which was why Li Jing was optimistic about this place. It didn't take long for the first game to end. Hey, you lost. Haha, give me money, give me money. The coolie was so happy that he didn't know what to do, not because of the $2, but because of the fun of gambling. Oh, what bad luck, I could have won. I made a wrong move. Li Jing shook his head slightly with deep emotion, but he quickly took out 2 yuan and handed it to the young cool. Li Jing was a little frustrated. Okay, the bill is settled. Who's next? I want another round. Another round. Get up, line up and play. 1 round per person. I'll do it, no one else. I'll do it. The young coolie wanted to press on with his victory, but unfortunately the people around him didn't agree. It's fun and money can be earned. How can such a good thing be monopolized by one person? Everyone was talking and scrambling for a place. Li Jing smiled slightly. It seems that he may be able to find a hotel to stay tonight. Time passed. The game continued. Li Jing lost less and won more. Lian kept putting money in and out of the piece of rags he found, and he didn't even have time to eat lunch. He played until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and Li Jing was ready to close the stall. Tomorrow, I'll come again tomorrow, and we'll continue playing. Waving goodbye and sending away a few coolies who still wanted to bother him, Li Jing took the chess and wallet and started to leave. If he continued playing, it would be dark. Not only was it unsafe, but he also had some things to deal with. He found a clothing store and spent a few dollars to buy clothes, bought some food casually, and then found an ordinary hotel to book a room. Li Jing was ready to go back to the room to eat. After sitting cross-legged for a whole day, his legs were almost numb and almost numb. In addition, he had not eaten all day. It was late, and if he met a robber again, he would have no way to deal with it. It would be better to go back to the hotel and rest as soon as possible. After spending some time to finish dinner, Li Jing counted his gains today. Excluding the money for buying clothes and staying in the hotel, he still had 68 yuan in his hand, which means that he made about 70 or 80 yuan in this day. Unfortunately, playing chess can be fun and killing time, but it is far from a long-term job, because people who lose money will eventually understand and don't want to play anymore. Maybe no one will come to the previous place in a few days, and then we will have to move to another place. They are all poor laborers. It's okay to play once or twice, but you can't rely on them for a long time. Chapter 5 Tattoo Space. After hiding the money, Li Jing went out to find a place to take a shower. There was a public bathroom in the hotel, which was not expensive. After buying some simple toiletries, Li Jing went into the bathroom. As soon as he took off his shirt and vest, Li Jing found a black, lightning-shaped mark on his left chest. This mark was attached to the surface of the skin like a tattoo. Li Jing frowned and reached out to rub it off, but he didn't expect that as soon as his fingers touched the tattoo, his whole body shook as if he was electrocuted. Time and space, randomly selected. The world of Kung Fu. Time, 1939, the Republic of China, 1 year before the plot began. Location, Earth, China, Shanghai. Historical plot, in the 1940s, in Shanghai, Jing, a street gangster who had been bullied since childhood, wanted to stand out from the crowd. When he grew up, he aspired to be a promising villain. Later, he set his sights on the increasingly rampant underworld overlord Axe Gang and wanted to take the opportunity to make a career. Jing pretended to be a member of the Axe Gang and extorted money in the Pig Cage village. He didn't want to attract the real Axe Gang to have a feud with the residents of the Pig Cage village. The Pig Cage village was originally a place where dragons and crouching tigers were hidden. Many residents had special skills. They stayed away from the grudges of the rivers and lakes, but they never thought that trouble would come to them automatically. In the process of the increasingly fierce struggle between the two sides, Jing suddenly woke up, reformed himself, and gradually revealed his unique martial arts talent. In the end, he became a legendary figure like a master. Return conditions. Change the long river of history in the direction of the original plot. The more changes you make, the greater the gains. Failure penalty. Obliterate. Li Jing was stunned for a few minutes before he came to his senses. He always thought it was just a simple time travel event, but he didn't expect that the black lightning mark gave him such important information. What is going on? Li Jing frowned and thought about it. He read a lot of novels when he was free, and he also read some online novels about infinite time travel, but now this situation is not like it. There is no specific main line, no specific tasks, no teammates, and not even a guide. It couldn't be simpler, just one sentence to change history, and it couldn't be more difficult. With the power of an ordinary person, how could the plot of this world be changed? Obliterate. One sentence of obliteration makes people do things that they can't do at all. Is this forcing people to die? With a thought in his mind, the soap in Li Jing's hand disappeared immediately. This lightning tattoo is not only a symbol of identity, it is also a space that can store items. It is a companion prop that can appear anywhere on the human body and can be transformed into any desired appearance, but it cannot leave the human body. The space inside is not large, only 1 cubic meter, and there is nothing inside, not even a novice equipment. From the time it came into contact with the tattoo space to the time it received this information, the tattoo space became quiet. No matter how Li Jing fiddled with it, no useful information appeared. Li Jing exhaled a breath of foul air, and he was no longer in the mood to take a shower. He wiped himself casually and returned to his room. He had just encouraged himself to live well during the day, but he didn't expect such a thing to happen at night. Come on, Do it. It's always good to have the hope of going back. What could be more unacceptable than living in this world for a lifetime? Obliterate. Haha. It's the same old saying, the timid will starve to death, and the bold will die of gluttony. If you can encounter such an opportunity, maybe this is the only chance for slaves to turn over. Too many debts don't worry, too many lies don't itch. Li Jing thought about it in a daze for half a night, and didn't know when he fell asleep. When he opened his eyes again, it was already bright. He had experienced too many things yesterday. He felt that he had slept in a state of confusion, and his body was numb and uncomfortable. It was almost noon when he got up and washed up. After a quick meal, Li Jing rushed to the coolies' gathering place where he played chess yesterday. Although I don't know who issued this perverted task of changing the ending of Kung Fu, life must go on. Besides, even if the sky is about to fall, you still have to eat. Li Jing is such a person. For nearly a month, Li Jing played chess to make money in all the coolies' gathering places in the city center. He would eat when he was hungry and return to the hotel before dark. He worked diligently and conscientiously, and in the end, he actually earned 1,000 yuan. In this era, 1,000 yuan is already a lot of money. Even small business owners dare not say that they can make this money in a few months. I can't play anymore. In the last 2 days, Li Jing has found that he is being followed, and it is not difficult to guess who the follower is. It is either a coolie who is greedy for money or a coolie who is greedy for money. The follower's skills are very conspicuous, and it is not easy to rob in the street in broad daylight. Although he has been safe these days, Li Jing does not want to fight these coolies to the end. Sister-in-law, I'm sorry to bother you during this period. It's okay, it's okay. Come and visit me often when you are free. Okay, then I'll leave first. Okay, see you later. Waving goodbye to the innkeeper, Li Jing prepared to return to the rented house, which was introduced by the charming innkeeper. The place is not big, just 2 houses, a small single-family house in the alley, but it is enough for Li Jing, a bachelor, to live. Now, there is less than a year before the plot begins, and it is not a good thing to stay in the hotel all the time, and some preparations must be made in this limited time. Otherwise, when Ashing awakens in the later stage, ordinary people at that time will be nothing, and they are still the kind of farts with big yawns. Stop, huh? Li Jing paused. Boy, you are really good at hiding, causing us brothers to squat and guard you for several days. A strong man wearing a linen waistcoat and bare arms blocked Li Jing's way. Perhaps because of too many things he had experienced recently, Li Jing was always distracted without paying attention. When he entered this narrow alley, he didn't look much, but he didn't expect that there were already people waiting in front of him. Hold the footsteps behind him. The front and back roads were blocked by people coming. Li Jing frowned, looked at the strong man not far away and said, Brother Ku, I have something to do today, so I won't play. How about I set up a table and invite Brother Ku to have a drink together some other day? Ma Ku sneered sarcastically. No need to drink. Brothers and sisters are short of money these days. Come to you to borrow some money to spend. You won't refuse, right? As he spoke, Ma Ku clenched his wrist and twisted his fist. There were 4 people coming, 2 in front and 2 in the back, and they blocked this narrow alley tightly, leaving Li Jing with no way to escape. These people were the coolies who had played chess with Li Jing. They usually had nothing to do, and the only work they did was to earn some money for cigarettes and alcohol. The sturdy man Ma Kui was quite prestigious among the coolies and was considered a relatively prestigious leader. Chapter 6. Only when you are alive can you have a life. Brother Kui, how much do you want? Li Jing is not someone who doesn't know how to advance and retreat, and he will definitely not end well if he fights to the death with these strong men. Want? No, no, borrow. That's different. The strong man Brother Kui smiled and shook his finger, and continued, unlike us who are showing off our strength, you are smart and make money quickly, so lend me 2,000 yuan to spend with the brothers. 2,000? Li Jing frowned. It seems that Ma Ku is going to catch the toad and squeeze the shit out of it. Not to mention 2,000, after paying the rent, Li Jing can't even take out 1,000, not to mention that even if he has money, no one can carry all his belongings with him when he goes out. After thinking about it, Li Jing took out all the money he had. Brother Kui, These few $100s are for treating us brothers to drinks, and you don't have to pay it back. I don't have 2,000 yuan. You saw it, brother Ku. When we were playing together, we were just playing around, and it was impossible to make much money. The sturdy man Ma Kui waved his hand, and the follower beside him nodded and went up to get the money. Well, I accept the gift, but you still have to give me 2,000 yuan. Ma Kui paused and continued, well, I won't force you. I'll give you 2 days. If you're still here after 2 days and give me the money, we'll go our separate ways. How about that? Li Jing frowned even more. Brother Ku, it's not that I don't want to give you money, it's just that I don't have that much money. We'll meet each other every day, so give me a way to live. Bah. Brother Ku spitted, counted the money, and said, don't talk nonsense, just take it if I tell you to. Do you want us to teach you how to be obedient? Brother Ku said, and several laborers stepped forward and surrounded Li Jing in the center. Few people passed by this alley, and those who were afraid of trouble would leave at a glance. Ma Kui and his men became more and more rampant. In this chaotic era, even if someone was hacked to death in the street, it would probably be just a formality, paying some money or a fine. Brother Ku, I agree. 2,000 yuan. Give me some time. Li Jing shrank his head, as if he was very scared, and even his legs and feet were shaking slightly. Ma Kui sneered, walked up to Li Jing, put his head close, and slapped Li Jing on the face with his hand. You are quite sensible. Okay, since you're so sensible, 3 days. I will come to get the money after 3 days. You kid, don't try to run away. Although I, Ma Kui, am not a gangster, but it only takes a word to say hello and keep an eye on you. Li Jing didn't look up, his fingers trembled slightly and then stopped moving. He nodded with some trembling. Yes, brother Ku, you are right. How dare I run away? Well, that's good. Brothers, let's retreat, go drink. Ma Kui patted Li Jing's cheek again, waved his hand, turned and headed towards the alley entrance. Several road blockers passed by Li Jing one after another, patted his shoulder to warn him, and turned around to leave the narrow alley one by one. Brother Ku, take care, I will definitely prepare the money. Ma Kui stretched out his little finger and shook it. He even turned his back to Li Jing with great pride. The other coolies also laughed loudly. The 4 figures disappeared at the alley, but Li Jing stood there without moving. Only by watching closely could one see the strong coldness in his eyes. Ma Kui, maybe the first knife should start with you. The expression on Li Jing's face became even colder, as if covered with a layer of frost. His 2 sharp eyebrows were tightly locked, and his thin lips were drawn downwards. His originally handsome face now seemed so cold and ruthless. Suddenly, the hot weather around seemed to have a cold breath. Li Jing is a selfish person in his bones, very selfish, and he dared to say this in front of the whole world. He is also very direct. He doesn't need a reason to do anything he wants. The desire of wanting is enough, because selfishness is selfishness. As long as there are creatures and thoughts, there is no unselfish existence. Reasons are just powerless manifestations and excuses. Everyone has another self in their hearts. This self does not need to be defined as good or bad. In the real society, there are constraints of morality, law, human nature and other game rules. This natural self will definitely shrink, and even helping the elderly cross the road has become a delusion. And when one day, a person is able and willing to break through these artificial shackles, maybe some people will become a hero who agrees with the image from the bottom of their hearts, and maybe some people will choose to be a big devil who is evil from the beginning. Li Jing is no exception. There may be a black devil in his heart. Li Jing's original character is that he never defines good and bad when looking at other people's actions. Good and bad are just a means to achieve a certain goal. The result is the most important. For example, a man fell in love with his good friend's wife and developed the kind of feeling that he would not marry anyone but him. So if this man excludes the possibility of withdrawal, should he choose to rob openly, or should he act quietly behind the scenes? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Li Jing, because once a person is driven by desire and selfishness, then all the means he uses are already produced for a certain purpose. So, since he has already taken that step, even if he finds some high-sounding excuses, what can he do? because no matter what method is used, it is essentially the same selfish action. He tilde with an inexplicable smile. Li Jing turned and walked out of the narrow alley. After returning to the rental house, he didn't go anywhere. He stayed in the house for a whole day. Only the occasional slight noise in the house could prove that Li Jing inside did not sleep well. The night passed quietly and peacefully without words. It is August now, and the heat is unbearable, and the weather in Shanghai is no exception. As usual, Li Jing took the chess and went out, wandering around the coolies' gathering places. From time to time, he would happily tease the coolies and give them cigarettes. It was another peaceful day, but the hot feeling made him feel a little bit energetic. As usual, Li Jing returned to his accommodation before dark. After eating something simple to fill his stomach, he sat by the bed and waited, as if he was waiting for the night to fall, or perhaps waiting for the knife in his hand to be sharpened. The second hand of the newly bought watch kept ticking, and the surrounding environment was a little scary. Li Jing sat on the edge of the bed and said nothing. Living may be a very tiring thing. There are many people striving to get ahead, and what is the difference between those who live in seclusion outside the mountains and don't care about the world and those who are dead? Live in a colorful way. When midnight came, Li Jing changed into a black suit, put the knife and some tools into the tattoo space, prepared everything, turned around and pushed the door and walked out of the room. Shanghai is truly alive at midnight. The nightlife here is extremely rich. The traffic on the streets has not decreased, but increased a lot. But it doesn't matter. Whether there are many people or few people, there are opportunities to do things. This is a smaller entertainment venue, and the name is luxurious, called Lido. Li Jing had already inquired during the day that Ma Ku and others were drinking here tonight. It is estimated that a few hundred yuan is not enough to spend. Even calling a lady to perform may cost more than this price. Welcome. Reaching out from his inner pocket, he took out a thick stack of banknotes and threw one to the younger brother who opened the door. Li Jing hugged the two socialites who were receiving guests and walked into the door of Lido Entertainment. While talking and laughing, Li Jing took out 2 bills and stuffed them into the chests of the two socialites, and touched their snow-white round breasts. The two socialites sneered and reached out to gently hit Li Jing's chest. The strength was not even as strong as massage. Maybe they saw that Li Jing was taking advantage of others, so they wanted to take it back. Chapter 7 First Kill. In the midst of the feasting and revelry, Li Jing had already scanned the surroundings while chatting and laughing. The light was dim and it was hard to see clearly, but he could tell that Ma Ku and the others were not in the hall. Xiang. Let me smell it. Li Jing stretched his neck and put his head close to the socialite's neck to inhale. It smells really good. Hateful. Giggle. It's so itchy. Xiang gently pushed Li Jing, as if Li Jing's head stretched between her neck made her feel uncomfortable, but unfortunately the angle was more like pulling closer than pushing. Xiang. This is my first time to play here. Please introduce the characteristics of your planes to me. Do you have any new tricks? Li Jing laughed and teased the two pretty Cheongsam girls beside him. First time? Then we are really lucky. Haha. Xiang said teasingly, blinked her eyes and smiled. Our specialty here is very sexy, but I don't know if you can handle it. As she spoke, the two women cooperated to pinch the inside of Li Jing's thigh. Li Jing frowned slightly, but the smile on his face did not break. Oh, am I afraid that you two can still eat me? It's a pity that this place is not very convenient. Haha, look at your anxious look. Xiang rolled her eyes at Li Jing, turned her head and looked at the other girl next to her. The two looked at each other, and then looked at the thick banknotes in Li Jing's hand. Xiang's eyes rolled. Come with me. Where to? The two did not speak, and pulled Li Jing directly through the hall to the back of the entertainment club. They pushed open a door and said hello to the younger brother guarding the door. The two took Li Jing through 2 corridors and came to a place that looked like a private room. The soundproofing facilities here are not very good. At least in the corridor, you can hear some shortness of breath coming from the boxes from time to time. Xiang looked at the house number and pushed open a silent room. Is it convenient here? Li Jing smiled slightly. It is convenient enough. Seeing Xiang unbuttoning a button around her neck like temptation, Li Jing continued, you two turn around first. I'll show you a surprise. Hee hee. What is it? That's right, don't lie. The two girls turned their backs to Li Jing while flirting. From the back, the two of them have a good figure, thin waist, long legs, and a perky butt. Unfortunately, Li Jing didn't have the slightest intention to continue. As the saying goes, means and purpose. Li Jing wants the purpose, not the means, and the process has no effect on him. Li Jing took out a wooden stick from the tattoo space and knocked the two girls to the ground with force. Just now in the corridor, he had heard Ma Ku's unique rough voice. There was no need to ask about the truth. Li Jing took out two ropes to tie up the two women, blocked their mouths, and casually put away the banknotes mixed with waste paper, and turned to leave the private room. Following the sound, Ma Ku's panting sound continued to come from the box not far away. Li Jing took out a sharp knife and hid it behind his back, and walked to the door of the box quietly. Brother Ku is awesome. It's been half an hour, and we really can't compare to him. Isn't it true? How can Brother Ku be compared to us? Ma Ku straightened his waist and panted, whispering, are you guys exhausted? Brother Ku, we can. Li Jing, who was outside the door, frowned. He knew from the sound that there were quite a few people inside. Counting the women, there were at least 4 people. To be safe, it was estimated that the 4 people he met that day might be inside. In this case, he couldn't force it, and could only outsmart him. Knock, knock. The door of the private room was knocked. Damn it, who is it? Knock, knock. Fuck you. Who the hell is it? Knock, knock. Fuck, who's he? Go see which bastard is looking for death. Ma Ku continued to sprint, cursing at the naked little brother beside him. Hey, I'll go see. Ku brother, you continue to play. Ma Ku nodded. Fuck him, disturbing my interest. Huzi agreed, found a pair of pants at random, and walked to the door with dirty words. The door opened. He leaned out and looked out. There was nothing in the dark corridor. Huh? Not that there was nothing. A figure flashed by not far from the end of the corridor. Fuck. Whose bastard is this? You grew up eating shit. Stupid. The black shadow responded with a dirty word, and Huzi immediately got angry. Fuck. Without caring about what shirt to wear, Huzi rushed towards the shadow. The shadow was not very fast and did not run far. As soon as he turned around, the shadow turned into a dark private room and disappeared. Huzi was stunned. Damn, why did he hide in the private room to die? Is this shadow a fool? Without time to think, Huzi rushed into the private room with a rage. The private room was pitch black and nothing could be seen. Huzi fumbled for the light switch. With a slight cry, there was no more movement in the dark private room. The open door was like the mouth of a giant beast that was ready to eat people. After Huzi entered, not even a bubble appeared. Li Jing held down his trembling wrist holding the knife. The sharp blade was already covered with blood. Huzi, who had come in earlier, was now lying on the ground twitching slightly. Several knife wounds on his lower back were still oozing blood. Murder? Li Jing did not regret it, and killing was not entirely for revenge. Perhaps at this time, Li Jing had a little understanding of what a person's magnanimity really meant, and where the meaning of magnanimity came from. Haha, not enough. Li Jing smiled coldly. Killing is killing. So what? No need to find excuses. Selfishness is selfishness. No reason is needed. The plan went smoothly. Using the method of fishing, Li Jing killed another person. At this time, Ma Ku finally realized that something was wrong. None of the 2 people who went out came back. It was too strange and too weird. Brother Ku, you mean Huzi and the others? It should be correct, but I hope they are fine. Ma Ku pulled up his pants, and the 2 naked women on the sofa had no time to look at them again. Brother Ku, then let's go out together and leave here first. Without any weapons in their hands, and there was not even a handy thing in the box, Ma Ku and the other man had to hold a bottle of wine each for self-defense. They pushed open the door, and the dim light in the corridor was not clear at all. The light that was originally very atmospheric in Ma Ku's eyes was so deadly and dangerous in his eyes at this moment. Ma Ku led the way with a frown on his face, followed by the last younger brother. The 2 of them walked step by step under the disgusting dim light, fearing that several bloody killers would suddenly jump out from the private rooms on both sides and take their lives. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Madman's Mentality. Brother Ku, I saw it. Don't talk. Ma Ku interrupted his younger brother's shouting. He also saw it. A black shadow was swaying left and right at the end of the corridor. It was hard to see who it was. Who's Ma Ku called softly. The two of them moved forward slowly, and came to the black shadow little by little. The black shadow did not try to dodge and continued to sway there. This was a headless corpse, hung high up by a rope, with its drooping toes just touching the ground, swaying in the wind, and bright red blood flowing down. It looked so terrifying and horrible under the dim light. Ma Ku and the other man screamed loudly, but the scream of the one behind him turned into a miserable groan. Ma Ku shuddered, and white sweat broke out on his back. As his nerves contracted, he turned around and smashed a bottle down. Bang! Crash! Broken glass scattered all over the floor. Li Jing, who was hit on the head, was also shaking and almost fainted on the floor. Shaking his bleeding head, Li Jing smiled slightly at Ma Ku. Now it was only one-on-one. The other person had already been lying on the floor, and it was unknown whether he was alive or dead. The bloody hole on his lower back was still bleeding. It seemed that he was beyond help. Haha, Brother Ku, are you surprised? Ma Ku widened his eyes. Everything in front of him seemed so unreal. He took a deep breath of the bloody air, calmed himself down, and shouted loudly, "We just want money. Are you crazy? Killing so many people?" Tsk. Li Jing curled his lips, not caring about Ma Ku's shouting. Money? What's that? It's just a tool for survival. I found that my previous values were completely wrong. It's not easy for people to live a life. They should live and die vigorously. Shouldn't they live in a muddle? That's not what I want. I don't know if he said it to Ma Ku or to himself more. Li Jing smiled slightly and shook his head. And change starts from today. You are a lunatic and a devil. Well, you can understand it this way. Killing is not the goal. Change is the result that Li Jing wants. Use human lives to test your own capacity and courage. If you are afraid of killing people and hesitate, I am afraid that no matter how many and how great your achievements are in the future, you will not be able to protect them. This is capacity. This is the original capacity, the most direct capacity. Using human lives to make up for your own shortcomings. Using human lives to test your heart. This is the truest self. You lunatic. I'll fight you. The wine bottle was smashed, and Ma Ku could only use his fists to hide the fear in his heart. Li Jing, with blood all over his face, smiled like the god of death. There was no fear in his eyes after his first murder. At this moment, he looked like a demon, and this smile was so evil and terrifying in Ma Ku's eyes. This feeling was very bad. He could only use his fists to knock down the smile on Li Jing's face. Destroy it. And must destroy it. He told with a light laugh. Li Jing looked at Ma Ku's fist and had no intention of dodging. It was slow. Too slow. I don't know what changed. Li Jing just felt that Ma Ku's fist was both weak and slow. A sharp knife pierced into his body, and Ma Ku's eyes widened in disbelief. His fist was only a few centimeters away from Li Jing's annoying smile, but unfortunately Li Jing's sharp blade had already pierced into his abdomen, and blood then came out, dripping on the ground. Ma Ku looked down at his bleeding abdomen, and his outstretched arm also became weak. He raised his head and stared at Li Jing's smile, as if he was moved by it. Ma Ku also smiled slightly. Death? It seems that it is not so terrible. What has happened in his life? It seems that he can't remember it clearly. Is it because he forgot, or is it because there is no moment worth lingering in his life? Ma Ku fell to the ground, smiled and closed his eyes, but Li Jing's smile was gone. He bent down and cut off Ma Ku's head and put it into the space, wiped the sharp knife, turned around and walked into the darkness. Naturally, someone will calm down their panic in Lido. When doing business, you have seen too many such things. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a common thing. But Li Jing walked back to the rental house as if taking a walk. Is he afraid of killing people? Afraid? Li Jing's hands have been shaking all the time, but it is a pity that this is just a rejection reaction of the body. Compared with the growth of the heart, these reactions are not worth mentioning at all. The return of the mission requires the greatest possible change in the historical trend of this world. In other words, in the final ending, Jing may be the enemy, and at least the righteous victory ending in the original plot cannot continue to appear. Li Jing's purpose of killing is to establish his own capacity, and the role of capacity lies in whether he can adapt to the next harsh test. If not, die as soon as possible. If you can, then run wildly until the end. Is it a person who issues the mission, or the so-called Lord God? These are all unknown, but these are not important. The important thing is that Li Jing is not the kind of person who is willing to be manipulated and played with by others. He often has the temper of asking others for 1,000 yuan. So, no matter who issued the mission, just by erasing this one, Li Jing is enough to put it on the must-kill blacklist. A few days passed in a flash, and Li Jing went around various places in Shanghai. Coolies are the portrayal of the lowest level of people in this society. They don't eat well. They don't wear warm clothes, they live wherever they go, and they earn a job that requires hard work, but it is often among this group of people that first-hand gossip will be circulated. Li Jing had watched the movie Kung Fu several times, and he still remembers it vividly. Moreover, the tattoo space also instilled the historical trend of this world into his memory. Based on this prophetic advantage, there are still many things that can be done. The Axe Gang will become the underground overlord of Shanghai in a year. While Shanghai is still dominated by the Crocodile Gang, the Axe Gang that will dominate the area in the future is still just a new emerging force. After getting up in the morning, Li Jing washed up, ate something simple, and went out in a black suit, looking for a car to go straight to the headquarters of the Axe Gang. The headquarters of the Axe Gang is not only remote, but also has only a few entertainment venues with limited income. Li Jing paid the driver and walked towards the door of the Rich Man Entertainment Center. "Welcome, sir." Li Jing gave a tip and followed the instructions of the door-opening brother to enter the hall. It was not business hours yet, and there were even fewer people in the early morning when the nightlife had just ended. But there was no point in pushing customers away when the door was opened for business. Li Jing, who had just walked in, was not ignored at all. A mature and graceful Cheongsam girl walked over quickly and greeted Li Jing skillfully. Chapter 9 Automatic Door-to-Door. "Sir, alone? I guess so." The Cheongsam girl smiled slightly. "Well, you've come at the right time. The girls will have to rest later." The girl has thin eyebrows and phoenix eyes, and the rouge and lipstick are just right. It's not too strong to make people feel disgusted, nor too light to make people feel too bland. Her pair of charming phoenix eyes flicker as if they can speak, which can arouse the most primitive desires of men from the bottom of their hearts. "What is your name?" The Cheongsam girl paid special attention to the word rest. How could Li Jing not hear it? Unfortunately, he didn't come here to seek flowers and ask willows. The Cheongsam girl smiled lightly, raised her fingers to cover her delicate white teeth slightly, and her slender waist swayed slightly, and the softness of the beautiful figure under the Cheongsam was undoubtedly revealed. She curved her beautiful eyes and continued, "Sir, you are so sweet. My sister's name is Susu, and I am the manager here. Don't have any bad ideas about me." Li Jing followed Susu to a table and sat down. He looked at Susu's figure. "Susu, I don't think you are simple at all. Hateful." Susu rolled her eyes and reached out to hit Li Jing lightly. She has been in the entertainment industry for many years and has already trained a pair of sharp eyes. Li Jing is a stranger, and she recognized him at a glance. At this time, it is not the time for experts who often play. What is his purpose? As if seeing through Susu's doubts, Li Jing smiled again. "I am not here to play today, but to find the Axe Gang to do a business. Please help introduce me to them." "Sister Susu." Susu was stunned, but her face was expressionless. What are you talking about, sir?" "What Axe Gang?" "I'm just a young person, Susu, and I don't know about those gangs and factions. Sister Susu is too cautious." Li Jing shook his head and said without comment, "This deal is worth several tons of gold. I can't afford it, so I came to rely on your gang. Sister Susu just needs to report it. After the deal is done, Sister Susu will definitely get her share. Oh, Susu was just shocked, but she didn't look pale. Several tons of gold? She really couldn't decide. Li Jing smiled continuously, and his respect for Susu increased to a higher level. It seems that her identity is not as simple as a socialite foreman. Without urging, Li Jing picked up the foreign wine on the table and took a sip. It tasted good. What's your surname, sir? No need to be surnamed Li, and the given name is Jing. Mr. Li, wait a moment. Susu will be back soon. Susu smiled slightly, picked up the goblet and toasted Li Jing apologetically. The wine glasses clinked slightly, and the two of them took a sip each. Susu put down the wine glass, smiled, stood up, and left. Li Jing sat there waiting. The gold thing was not false, and the news from the coolie circle could still be trusted. Besides, Li Jing had already checked and made preparations before, but cooperating with the Axe Gang was no less than seeking the skins of a tiger, so he needed to be careful. Not long after, Susu appeared again. She did not come to Li Jing, but just waved to Li Jing at the corner of the hall. Li Jing smiled slightly, stood up and walked towards Susu. Mr. Li, please follow me. Susu saw Li Jing coming and turned to lead the way. Well, Sister Susu is polite. Oh, I wish I really had a brother like Mr. Li. Susu sighed and looked back at Li Jing. His handsome face, well-proportioned figure, clear and orderly way of doing things, seemed to make her like him more and more. Sister Susu, you are joking. If you don't mind, Sister Susu can accept my useless brother. That would be a blessing for me. Haha, my brother is really likable. Oh, we are here, brother. You have to be careful when you go in. Brother Chen is not easy to talk to. Perhaps because she really likes Li Jing, Susu indirectly acknowledged this brother and gave him some advice. Thank you, Sister Susu. See you later. Yes. Susu nodded and turned to leave. Li Jing took a deep breath and pushed the door open. This was a not too big room with a few tables and chairs, some decorations, and a bed in the middle for smoking opium. Zhang Chen, the big boss of the Axe Gang, was half lying on it and enjoying himself, with a few younger brothers serving him. Hey, that's so-and-so. How many tons of gold do you say you have? The person who spoke wore a pair of glasses. Li Jing was also impressed by this person. He was the master of the Axe Gang. It seemed that at the end of Kung Fu, he was still alive. It's not that I have it, it's that I know where it is. Li Jing smiled slightly. Boy, don't say I won't give you a chance. Tell me the whereabouts of the gold and I can let you join the Axe Gang. Zhang Chen, who was lying on the throne, stopped smoking opium and opened his mouth full of black teeth, wanting to get something for nothing. Li Jing almost laughed out loud. Zhang Chen was really arrogant. Today's Shanghai is not the world of the Axe Gang. The current Axe Gang is at most 100 cats and cats. Those who don't know would think that Tian is the boss and the Axe Gang is the second. Boy, Brother Chen's words are always true and unchangeable. Joining the Axe Gang is the best choice in your life. Hurry up and hand over the gold. The glasses-wearing lawyer also chimed in. Li Jing stretched out his right index finger and shook it, interrupting the lawyer's nonsense. Brother Chen, I'm here to do business, but it seems that you don't have any sincerity. But it doesn't matter. In half an hour, my brother can't wait for me to negotiate successfully, so he should go to the Crocodile Gang to find some partners. Zhang Chen and the master were both stunned, and then the master opened his arms and laughed exaggeratedly. Ha ha ha, young people can't stand being joked. Our brother Chen is very righteous. How could he bully the weak and oppress the younger generation? Changing the subject, Zhang Chen also grinned with black teeth. Haha, little brother is a talent. I wonder if you are willing to join our Axe Gang? I sincerely invite you this time. I am very optimistic about the development prospects of your gang, but we still need to build a little trust first, right? For example, the next batch of gold? Li Jing found a place to sit down automatically without any hesitation, and casually shifted the topic back. Haha, you're right. I'd like to hear about your plan, little brother. Otherwise, we'll be completely clueless about the whole situation, right? Zhang Chen got up and took a cigar from his younger brother, and motioned for him to give one to Li Jing as well. Chapter 10 Gold Negotiations. Waving his hand to refuse the cigar, Li Jing took out a box of cigarettes, took out a cigarette and lit it. Brother Chen is an old Shanghainese, he should know all the local banks well. I won't waste time on these little things. Some time ago, Shanghai Pudong Development Bank just transferred a batch of gold reserves, but because of some problems within the bank, this batch of gold has not yet entered the safe. And I have the exact location of this batch of gold. To be precise, I can draw a map, but because of the weight of the gold and the many armed guards, I want to use Brother Chen's power to share this batch of priceless gold together. Oh, Zhang Chen's heart moved. How could such a big news not be heard at all? Besides, as long as the accuracy of the news is confirmed, and then the exact location of this batch of gold is dug out, wouldn't it be possible to take this batch of treasures by myself? Zhang Chen was thinking without answering, but Li Jing didn't mean to urge him at all. After leisurely smoking a cigarette, Li Jing spoke again slowly. Brother Chen, my strength is too weak, so I have to rely on your gang's troops, but none of us can afford the outcome of a dead-end situation. I don't know if your gang can withstand the many tigers and wolves around us if the news leaks out, such as the crocodile gang, huh? Zhang Chen frowned and looked at Li Jing deeply. Be prepared for any eventuality. A dead-end situation? Haha. There is no need to worry, little brother. Our brother Chen is the most particular about the morality of the rivers and lakes. How could he do something treacherous? Little brother, you think too much. The role of the master is to read people's faces. With his help, the atmosphere in the field can be maintained. That's good. I don't know what Brother Chen means. Haha. The master is right. What I care most about is the word loyalty. You can rest assured. Zhang Chen received the master's look, and he changed the subject and figured out a lot of things. It's too early to say anything now. After the gold is in hand, it will still be up to him, Zhang Chen, to decide. Since you've already said this, I, Zhang, can't help but say something. Let's not talk about the amount of gold. How about the axe gang and you split it 50-50? Well, Brother Chen is very righteous, and I admire you very much. Let's not talk about 50-50. We are few in number, and 3 points are enough to spend a lifetime. The rest is for your gang to buy some stuff, just to show my gratitude. Li Jing stood up and bowed, which was considered to be an acknowledgement of Zhang Chen's tall image. Haha, no, brother, you are too polite. On behalf of all the colleagues of the Axe Gang, I would like to express my gratitude to you, Zhang Chen said, and led the brothers around him to bow slightly to Li Jing. You're welcome, Brother Chen, I can't afford it. Li Jing took a few quick steps and helped Zhang Chen, who was bent over, up. Okay, everyone is happy. We won't go home until we are drunk tonight. The master applauded, and the few people talked enthusiastically, as if the gold had already been obtained or could be picked up when they went out. Li Jing shook his head. In order to avoid more trouble, we must act early, so as not to be beaten to the punch by other gangs that have received the news. Little brother, you are right. I wonder if you have any good suggestions. You might as well say them. Zhang Chen stretched out his hand to Li Jing, motioning him to continue. It is better to do it sooner rather than later. It is only morning now. Why don't we prepare separately? Brother Chen will gather people and prepare equipment. We will gather in the evening and start the action at midnight. Will it be too hasty? The master was still a little worried. The crocodile gang has many spies. Maybe they have received the news but have not had time to act yet. We must act early before them and intercept this patch of gold. Li Jing waved his hand and said firmly. Zhang Chen's eyes flashed with a fierce look. Of course, he knew that speed is the essence of war. He nodded. Little brother, you have considered it carefully. Let's do as you said and act tonight. The three discussed some details again. It was almost noon. Li Jing finished his instructions and looked at the time to leave. Well, in that case, I won't bother you anymore. I'll go back and gather a few brothers and draw the route on the map. Time waits for no one, so I'll take my leave now. Okay, then we'll see you tonight, master. Please see my little brother off for me. Zhang Chen nodded, feeling that this matter was indeed promising. The master extended his hand to ask Li Jing to lead the way and see him off, but Li Jing waved his hand. Don't bother master. Master, tonight's action is more important. Master, you'd better stay and discuss it with Brother Chen. I'll do it myself. Haha, you're welcome, you're welcome. Although he said polite words, the master didn't force it, and watched Li Jing push the door and walk out. After Li Jing left, Zhang Chen turned his head and looked at the master on the side. What did you say, master? The truth of the news about the gold still needs to be confirmed, but the rest is easy to say. If the news about the gold is true, then it's okay to bring this guy with you for tonight's operation. When the gold is in hand, whether this guy lives or dies is up to you, Brother Chen. The master in a gray suit grinned, a typical traitor. Well, that's right. Prepare for both situations. Find out the news and prepare the manpower. Master, you can arrange it. By the way, remember to call the second brother back. Zhang Chen, who had a big back hair and a circle of beard, nodded to signal the master to do it, and he returned to the bed to enjoy the pleasure brought by opium. Li Jing turned and walked out of the corridor and came to the hall, but found that Su Su, the charming Cheongsam girl, was still here, and Su Su smiled slightly when she saw Li Jing coming out. Have you finished the talk? Yeah. How was it? Was it going well? Brother Chen is still easy to talk to. Li Jing nodded and took the glass of foreign wine handed over by Su Su. Haha, you are the first person who says that Brother Chen is easy to talk to. Su Su smiled charmingly, and her two beautiful eyes curved into crescents. Good brother, if you can get so much gold, what are you going to do with it? Of course, I will spend it on Sister Su Su. Tell me, what do you want? At that time, it won't be a problem for me to buy this entertainment city and give it to you. Li Jing exaggeratedly gestured with his hands, as if what he said was true. Hee. Su Su smiled. You are so sweet. Sister's heart is almost melted by your words. As if cooperating with Li Jing, Su Su exaggeratedly covered her chest, as if her heart was really going to melt. Really? That's terrible. Let me take a look for you. Li Jing glared, and took away Su Su's hands covering her chest in a serious manner, staring at the towering breasts without moving, as if he felt that he really couldn't see anything. Li Jing stretched out his hand and wanted to make a precise diagnosis. Chapter 11 Customs Actions. Hateful. Pa Su slapped the hand that Li Jing stretched out, looking pitiful and bullied, and one could even see a pool of moisture in her big eye sockets. Haha, I'm just teasing you. This woman is really a natural acting expert. Li Jing curled his lips and smiled. Okay, I have something to do. See you next time, Sister Susu. Seeing Li Jing get up to leave, Susu sat there and smiled. Good brother, you won't be angry with me, right? At worst, when you come next time, Sister will let you check it out. Haha, well, the anger is really gone, but the anger was aroused by you, little goblin. I won't let you go next time. Susu is indeed very beautiful. She is a woman who knows how to use her advantages, her charming eyes, hot body, and just the right amount of charm. Perhaps any normal man cannot escape her radiation range. Li Jing waved his hand and motioned goodbye. Although women are good, they are not as important as life. Li Jing is not a genius, but he also knows what to do and when. Self-discipline is the only thing he can be proud of. Su Su waved at Li Jing's back as a farewell, and she didn't say anything else. Perhaps mysterious men are indeed more attractive. Just after meeting him, she found that Li Jing was a man that no one could guess. He seemed to have many secrets. This sense of mystery was a unique fatality to Su Su, a woman who was proud from the bottom of her heart. It's not stupid to fly into a flame, but the passion and courage that moths yearn for. After leaving the rich man, Li Jing went straight back to the rental house. There was nothing to prepare. Everything had been prepared. Now he just had to wait for dark to act. As for the time left, it was just to give the Axe gang time to verify and react. Time passed, and Li Jing, who had rested for a while, woke up again at 7 o'clock in the evening. He ate a hot meal slowly, and then Li Jing found a car to go to the rich man to meet Zhang Chen and others. Brother, you've made people wait for so long. Seeing Li Jing come in, Zhang Chen, who had already been informed by his subordinates, opened his arms and walked forward, automatically changing his words to be more friendly. Brother Chen, please forgive me. I came here in a hurry. There's no need to rush now, right? Li Jing smiled slightly. It seemed that the Axe gang had confirmed the news of the gold. This was the best. Although it was confirmed, There was no extra time for them to find a more accurate location of the gold. "Hey, Brother Chen is so busy, don't play any more tricks," the master threatened jokingly. Li Jing waved his hands in panic. How could I dare to play tricks on Brother Chen? This joke of the master is not funny at all. Haha, don't scare our god of wealth. It's getting late now. The people and horses have been prepared. Brother, shouldn't you talk about this specific actions? Jiang Chen waved his hand to interrupt the master who wanted to speak. It was already past 9 o'clock in the evening, and it was not long before midnight. Li Jing nodded without hesitation, took out a self-drawn map that he had prepared long ago and placed it on the table. Let's follow what we agreed on before. The location of the gold is still detained by the customs. There are about 60 guards, and they all have guns, but they will change guards at 1 a.m., and this is our chance. Jiang Chen and the master also looked at the map route on the table, and nodded when they heard Li Jing's description. They were very familiar with the armed forces of the customs, and maybe they could handle it without fighting hard. Fear of death, greed for money, no matter which one it was, could not be changed by holding guns. I don't know what Brother Chen thinks. Li Jing looked up and asked. The armed forces of the customs are not worth mentioning, and there is no need to worry about transportation. Master, do you have anything to add? Brother Chen, it's not difficult, but you still have to be careful. I heard that the crocodile gang has also made some moves. Jiang Chen frowned, showing his black teeth, and his face became more and more ferocious. Humphrey, sooner or later, the territory here will belong to my axe gang. Crocodile gang? It's better not to come tonight. If they come, let them go back sideways. It was getting later and later. It was the opening show time of Shanghai's nightlife. After discussing the details, more than 100 people from the axe gang disappeared in the night, and Li Jing, Jiang Chen and others also set off. The vehicle drove through the crowd all the way. After turning a few streets, the crowd on the road gradually became sparse. The vehicle drove to a more remote location. It was not until more than an hour later that the vehicle stopped and arrived at the destination. Brother Chen, the brothers are all here. Jiang Chen had just gotten off the car when a black-clad younger brother ran up to report the situation. Jiang Chen nodded and waved to the younger brother to continue waiting. This place is not very close to the customs. From a distance, you can only see a dark building complex. With the help of a few searchlights, you can find that many containers are neatly arranged around the buildings. The high-stacked appearance looks like a square fortress of steel buildings. Master, how much time is left? Jiang Chen asked casually while smoking a cigar. Brother Chen, 1 hour. Jiang Chen nodded, and Li Jing stepped forward at this time. Brother Chen, something is wrong. Huh? What's wrong? Jiang Chen turned his head. Can you smell it? Is there a smell of gunpowder? Jiang Chen and Master were both stunned when they heard it. They took 2 breaths of air as they were told. The two looked at each other and there was indeed a smell of gunpowder, very faint, as if it was blown by the wind. Several people were shocked and looked towards the direction of the customs at the same time. The implication was self-evident. Something had happened and someone had got there first. Master, let a few brothers go over to check out the situation. Li Jing waved his hand to stop him. Wait, Brother Chen, too many people will alert the enemy. It was my suggestion. I will go alone. Jiang Chen was stunned again, seeing Li Jing's righteous look. It was really hard to refuse, but he always felt that something was wrong. How can this be done? I am a person who uses my brain. Let the subordinates do this kind of risky thing. Li Jing frowned. He was still not shrewd enough and too impatient. After a change of mind, Li Jing spoke again. It doesn't matter who goes, but Brother Chen, I originally wanted to join the Axe Gang and do something big after I finish this job, but I'm a newcomer. How can I not set an example? If this thing goes wrong, how can I still have the face to stay in Shanghai? How can I still have the face to make a living in this place? How can I still have the face to continue to face the brothers of the Axe Gang? Chapter 12 Fishing in Troubled Waters. As Li Jing spoke, he became more and more passionate. Jiang Chen and Master were dumbfounded. After hearing these words, they all felt that the Axe Gang was a great and promising profession. After opening their mouths several times, they did not say anything to stop him. Didn't they discourage others? Didn't you see that the younger brothers beside him were blushing and thick-necked? If they went further, I guess these people could even swear an oath for the Axe Gang. Well, good job, brother. Today, I, the boss, will announce here that you officially join the Axe Gang. Whether you succeed this time or not, you are our good brother. Jiang Chen's words were also very high-sounding. Who doesn't say nice things? If something went wrong, he would probably be the first to kill Li Jing. Well, time is running out. Give me a flare. If I fire it at 1 in the morning, Brother Chen will bring the brothers to intercept the goods. If there is no signal, the brothers will return. There is no if. Whether it is true or false, whether it is a performance or a fact, Jiang Chen's passion may not have cooled down because he has not yet ascended to the position of Shanghai's overlord. He patted Li Jing's shoulder and said solemnly, "Brother, we are waiting for your good news." "Okay." Li Jing nodded, took the flare and put it on his waist, turned and walked into the darkness, heading towards the customs. Unfortunately, no one noticed the coldness in Li Jing's eyes when he turned around. "Master, you are a talent." Li Jing walked away, and Jiang Chen smiled slightly. Master nodded behind Jiang Chen, but his slightly frowned brows showed that he still felt that something was wrong. Looking at Li Jing's previous performance in the negotiation, it can be seen that he is not the kind of person who is hot-headed and impulsive. So what purpose does his behavior at this moment contain? Walking quickly, it didn't take long for Li Jing to approach the perimeter of the customs, where 2 shadows were waiting. Mr. Li, well, are you ready?" "Yes, everything is ready, and the Crocodile Gang has also arrived." "Well," Li Jing nodded and looked at the time in the faint moonlight. "When the time comes, let's start." "Yes, Mr. Li." The 2 shadows agreed, bent down, turned around and walked into the darkness, disappearing. The 2 were brothers. The elder brother was called Wang Dashan, and the younger brother was called Wang Dali. They were both coolies. Because they offended the deceased Ma Ku, their only relative, their elderly father was beaten to death by Ma Ku and others. The 2 wanted to avenge their father, but they never got the chance. Li Jing had heard about their situation a long time ago. He cut off Ma Ku's head in order to subdue the 2 brothers so that he would have a younger brother to help him. The gunpowder smell blown by the wind was also arranged in advance by the 2 brothers according to Li Jing's arrangement. At 1 o'clock in the morning, a bright firework suddenly appeared in the sky above the customs. It was a signal from the Axe Gang. "Brother Chen, look." "Well, let's go." Jiang Chen's eyes lit up, and with a wave of his hand, hundreds of black-clad brothers all ran towards the customs. The master beside him opened his mouth several times, but in the end he didn't say anything. Suspicion? At this time, suspicion alone was not enough to change Jiang Chen's mind. The huge temptation of several tons of gold had already put the Axe Gang in a state where the arrow was on the string and had to be shot. It was not something that could be changed by a simple suspicion. Da tilde kai tilde a tilde a tilde I want your life tilde. In just a few minutes, the Axe Gang had already exchanged fire with the customs armed forces. Bullets flew, sharp blades chopped and blood splashed. The customs troops were beaten back step by step. The eyes of the Axe Gang were shining, and they pressed forward step by step, just wanting to kill all the customs officers in one go. Da tilde a big brother, brother Chen, someone attacked. It's the Crocodile Gang. Huh? Jiang Chen was startled, holding a shotgun and hiding at a container. Looking back, he didn't know when another group of people appeared behind the Axe Gang, and there were many of them, at least several times their own. As soon as the 2 gangs met, the Axe Gang suffered heavy losses. "Fuck you, Crocodile Gang," Jiang Chen cursed. The Axe Gang had more than 100 people, which was already a full force, and the loss of one was one less. Even if they exchanged their lives with the Crocodile Gang, they could not withstand such a loss. "Retreat, retreat," Jiang Chen shouted twice, turned around and led the escape. It was not that he did not have the courage to stay and fight to the death, but that this was simply not feasible. Even if all the hundreds of people of the Crocodile Gang were killed here, it would only be limited losses and minor fights. If the Axe Gang were all killed here, it would be really finished. The 2 gangs continued to exchange fire, and most of the members were still hacking at each other with knives and axes. The axe gang fought and retreated, and even the customs officers who were fleeing everywhere did not care about chasing and killing them. Escape was the most important thing. On a high platform of a container in the distance, Li Jing watched all this with cold eyes. There was nothing he could do about the weakness of the axe gang. He did not know how Zhang Chen replaced the crocodile gang within a year. If this is the case, the underground forces in Shanghai are really chaotic. Maybe the dealer will change again soon. Mr. Li, well, how is it going? Li Jing did not turn around. Wang Dashan behind him replied, the things are on the way. And the brothers have also retreated. Yes, Li Jing nodded. The exact location of the gold has always been false. The map given to the axe gang is false, and the news reported to the crocodile gang is also false. It is not that the two gangs are not well informed, but the time is too urgent. The two gangs have just verified the accuracy of the news. There is no time to find the exact location of the gold. Only the coolies know the specific whereabouts of the gold, but they do not have the ability to intercept the gold. Li Jing used the coolies' news to create a time difference, allowing the two gangs to stir up trouble and attract the attention of the customs armed forces, so as to achieve the result of fishing in troubled waters. Although the matter is simple, as long as there is a slight mistake, Li Jing will not succeed. This depends on a person's operational ability. The time, place, and people all need to be arranged just right. In the distance, the exchange of fire between the two gangs was coming to an end. The members of the axe gang fled, leaving dozens of corpses behind. The members of the crocodile gang cheered and enjoyed the fruits of victory alone. No one knew how they would react when they found out that the golden location was fake. But all this had nothing to do with Li Jing. Chapter 13 Cobra. Li Jing turned around and got off the container, and left this place of trouble with Wang Dashan. With such a big incident, the army would definitely come to suppress it, and staying for a long time would not be a good thing. The car drove away, and Li Jing sat in the car with his eyes closed and said nothing. In this chaotic era, there is no way out if you abide by the law. For example, the masters of the pig cage city said that they would retire from the world and live in seclusion in the countryside, but in fact, it was all bullshit. If you really want to live in seclusion, why don't you find a deep mountain forest to farm? Why do you still want to learn martial arts from the masters? Saying that you live in seclusion is just deceiving yourself. How can a person live without desires? And the reason why we have desires is that humans can develop, seek knowledge, and reproduce. Otherwise, what is the difference between us and chickens, ducks, cats, and dogs? Wang Dashan drove the stolen car all the way, and after more than half an hour, he caught up with several trucks that were also running. On these trucks were intercepted gold, at least 7 or 8 tons. The sky was slightly bright, and it was almost morning. The convoy, which had been running for several hours, finally stopped. Li Jing got off the truck, and dozens of strong men jumped off the truck. Mr. Li, Mr. Li, Mr. Li, everyone greeted him. They were all poor laborers, and most of them were able to behave themselves. Some of those who had evil intentions had already been killed by Li Jing. Seeing Li Jing's ruthlessness, these people became more obedient. Well, everyone has worked hard. Dolly, you go and arrange to reward the brothers tonight. Okay. This is a rural farm, located in a remote area, and almost no one comes here. The trucks were sealed after entering, and these dozens of laborers will live here in the future. Dashan, take a few brothers and clean up the traces of the road on the way here. Okay. Wang Dashan agreed, called a few helpers, and walked out of the field. The matter came to an end, and Li Jing was relieved. But the next thing was more serious. Not only did he avoid the search of the Shanghai underground overlord, but he also had to further implement his plan, otherwise the gold would be useless. A month passed in a flash. Li Jing sent people to sell gold in other provinces, and contacted foreigners from all over the country to buy weapons and ammunition. At the same time, he collected martial arts secrets sold on the market. For example, at the black market auction, Li Jing spent 10,000 oceans to buy a set of secrets called 5 Elements Magic Kung Fu. Although it is called Magic Kung Fu, it is estimated that it is only slightly stronger than the Iron Wire Fist, Wulang Bagua Stick, etc. So Li Jing even specially hired several martial arts masters to teach and assist. All things and actions are based on the farm. Li Jing restrained everyone and said that they had never been to Shanghai once. The next time they go, it will be a bloody storm. It is not a good thing to be exposed in advance. Mr. Li, the goods have arrived. After finishing the last round of the 5 elements fist, Li Jing let out a long breath. He had just started learning martial arts, and was still far from the desired results. Since Li Jing bought the 5 elements magic skills, he has never stopped practicing. He has practiced for more than 10 days, and the effect has just begun to show. Wang Daoshan led the way and led Li Jing into a renovated warehouse. At this time, the warehouse was full of wooden boxes of various models. Several of the wooden boxes had been opened, revealing the black iron weapons inside. Li Jing reached out and took out a submachine gun. The crisp sound of bullets loading was endless. This batch of goods was purchased from foreigners. They were all German products. The magazines of the submachine guns were also old-fashioned round, with a capacity of 70 rounds. Mr. Li, this is already the last batch of goods. The 3 batches before and after have arrived. Well, how is the training of the brothers? Li Jing nodded and asked. The team now has 300 members, and the training has never been neglected. As for the firearms, Da Li has already formed a 50-man firepower team. Well, that's good. Inform them to intensify the training and march into Shanghai in a week. Li Jing narrowed his eyes and looked stern. Yes. Throwing down the firearm in his hand, Li Jing turned and walked out, followed closely by Wang Daoshan. He couldn't wait any longer. It was only 10 months before the plot began, and it was undoubtedly a foolish dream to control the entire Shanghai in such a short time, unless there was an overwhelming armed force. However, working behind closed doors could not solve the root of this problem. What Li Jing wanted was to fight to support the war. With strong financial support, the number of people was no longer a problem, so he had to rely on killing people to train real desperate warriors who dared to fight and kill. A week passed in the blink of an eye, and the team of more than 300 people had assembled. They all wore black suits, but there was a small cobra logo on the left chest of everyone, and the name of the newly established organization was called Cobra. Let's go. It was already dusk. It would take several hours to get to Shanghai. We had to arrive at the city center at midnight to start the next move. A convoy of more than a dozen cars and trucks sped along at a high speed, causing waves of dust and dirt to explode on the road wherever they passed. Mr. Li, we're almost there. Well, let the brothers get ready. Let's start with the Axe Gang first. Li Jing, sitting in the back seat of the car, squinted and ordered. Yes. Wang Daoshan, who was sitting in the front seat, responded and turned back to give Li Jing's order. The driver turned the car around and drove directly to the headquarters of the Axe Gang. Squeak tilde at midnight. More than a dozen cars stopped at the entrance of the Grand Rich Entertainment Center. This was the peak of nightlife, and many men and women in bright clothes gathered here. Bang 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 tilde. Hundreds of strong men in black jumped off the trucks one after another, each holding a weapon. The machetes and guns seemed to emit the light of the death summons under the light. I don't know which woman was frightened and screamed loudly. The group of people at the door immediately came to their senses and fled in all directions. When Li Jing got out of the car, there was no one in front of the rich man's door. Li Jing waved his hand. Wang Daoshan's eyes turned cold and he shouted loudly, "Kill! Don't spare any members of the Axe Gang. Kill tilde kill. Kill 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 tilde." Dozens of people rushed in. The other members of the Cobra were led by Wang Dali to other Axe Gang territories. They were determined to wipe out the Axe Gang tonight. Da. The sounds of gunfire were heard outside the door. Li Jing lit a cigarette and walked into the door of the rich man. The hall was in chaos at this time. Several people wearing Axe Gang clothes had already been lying in a pool of blood without a sound, while many other customers were squatting timidly in various corners and no one cared about them. Li Jing always did things with a purpose. He would never do indiscriminate massacres without any benefit. He was a rational man who knew the priorities and put interests first. Chapter 14, March into Shanghai. Li Jing moved and walked towards a corner, where dozens of men and women were squatting. All of them were so scared that they didn't know what to do and were shaking all over. Susu, a Cheongsam girl in the crowd, was stunned when she heard the words, and when she looked up, she saw Li Jing looking at her with a smile. "It's you?" "It's me. What's wrong? Are you surprised?" Li Jing threw the cigarette butt in his hand on the ground and stepped on it lightly. "I thought you were in trouble. What happened?" Susu saw Li Jing, plucked up her courage and stood up on the ground. She was just a woman, and it was good enough that she didn't cry when she saw someone being killed. "Nothing, just a little thing. I'll tell you later." Li Jing took Susu's hand, took her aside, turned around and said to Wang Dashan behind him, "Drive these people out. You should know what to do." "Yes, Mr. Li, I know what to do." Wang Dashan agreed and turned around to make arrangements. The matter was very simple. It was nothing more than not letting a person implicated by the axe gang go. Li Jing also smiled slightly. The two brothers of the Wang family were somewhat beyond his expectations. He did not expect that two poor children who came from a coolie family could do this. Not only did they handle everything Li Jing ordered in an orderly manner, but they could also draw inferences from one thing and have their own ideas. They were also outstanding talents. Gunshots continued, and the sound of chopping and killing came out one after another. Li Jing sat on the side and teased Susu. He seemed very happy, but the several dead bodies and the bright red blood on the side seemed so out of tune with the atmosphere here. Li Jing did not have to wait too long. With deliberate planning, heavy firepower support, and overwhelming numbers, the Axe Gang was defeated one after another. The suppressed coward and dared not show their heads. Once they were discovered, they would be greeted with nothing but slaughter. Bang! Several younger brothers dragged a dead body and threw it in front of Li Jing. A closer look showed that it was the second in command of the Axe Gang. However, this fat man was shot to death at this time, and his body was covered with dozens of blood holes. It was really tragic and hideous. "Mr. Li, the members of the Axe Gang have been completely eliminated. Only the big brother Zhang Chen and his master are hiding upstairs. They asked to surrender and not be killed." "Oh?" Li Jing smiled and looked at Susu's slightly anxious face. He was moved and said, "Promise them, let them give up resistance and bring them down." "Yes." The younger brother turned and left. Li Jing looked at Susu with a smile. "If only one of them can be left, who do you think is better to kill, Zhang Chen, or the master?" Don't kill my brother, Mr. Li, I'm sobbing." Susu didn't finish her words, but she cried out first. "Brother? Which one is your brother?" Li Jing pressed on step by step. He would not leave troubles because of a woman. Susu wiped her tears, and said hurriedly for fear of speaking too slowly, "Master, the master of the Axe Gang is my brother. He is the only relative I have." Oh, Li Jing could never imagine that such a wretched master would have such a beautiful sister. "Is he a biological brother?" Susu was stunned, but still replied, "Yes, but he is a half-brother. He and I have been at odds since we were young, but he still loves me very much. After my parents passed away, he has been taking care of me." "Then what about your job?" Li Jing was still puzzled. Since they had this relationship, how could she still do this kind of job? "This is my own request. I don't have any other skills, and I don't want to rely on him to support me. I can only find a simple job here to make money to support myself." Susu stretched out her hand to wipe her tears, messing up her rouge and powder, and turned into a big clown face. Li Jing still looked at her with a half-smile. Although this woman had excellent acting skills and spoke clearly, Li Jing could still see through the flaws in logic at a glance. Li Jing's greatest strength was logical thinking, and she was born to be suitable for the kind of work that involves finding faults and picking bones. Li Jing didn't say anything, just stared at Susu, which made Susu feel very pressured. She bit her lip. Perhaps to save the life of the master, she had to say, "The reason why I work here is because I hate him. I want to be an eyesore here." Susu gritted her teeth, and her eyes began to redden again after just crying. Li Jing was also stunned, and it seemed that he was digging deeper and deeper. He casually said, "What do you mean? I am 29 years old this year. When I was 21, this shameless guy said that it was for my own good and that the eldest brother was a father, so he betrothed me to Zhang Chen, an incompetent man. Jiang Chen smoked opium and he was not interested in women at all. So although I am the nominal sister-in-law of the Axe Gang, this is just a big joke. Mr. Li, Jiang Chen is here, huh? Li Jing was stunned by the gossip. This ordinary little brother was really a fool and had no vision. Li Jing turned around and said nothing. Business was more important. Looking at Jiang Chen and the master who were escorted here with dusty faces, Li Jing smiled slightly. It's you? You did all this? Jiang Chen couldn't keep calm when he saw Li Jing. After the loss from the customs, the master told him his suspicion of Li Jing. Jiang Chen understood everything after the signal, the crocodile gang and other things. When he wanted to track down Li Jing, he found that he had disappeared. I knew it was you who did it. I guess you sent someone to notify the crocodile gang, right? You are good at fishing in troubled waters. Do you know how crazy the crocodile gang has been in the past month to find the whereabouts of the gold? The master yelled and even wanted to beat Li Jing, but was blocked by the black muzzle of the gun. He was almost driven crazy by a series of things recently. Haha, it's just a matter of success or failure. What's the point of saying so much? Li Jing waved his hand nonchalantly. The gun-wielding brother next to him stepped forward and hit Jiang Chen and the master with two heavy gun butts. The two were knocked to the ground, and Li Jing didn't want to waste time talking to them. Brother Chen, be a good person in your next life. You are not suitable for this promising career. A gunshot rang out, and a small hole appeared on Jiang Chen's forehead. The master beside him was splashed with blood. His pupils immediately shrank, and the fear in his heart was infinitely magnified. Li Jing's ruthless killing made him completely at a loss. He opened his mouth, but his hoarse voice was suppressed and he couldn't even shout. Master, what about you? Li Jing pointed his pistol at the master again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15. The storm is coming. Before the master spoke, Susu, who was standing beside him, grabbed Li Jing's sleeve with tears in her eyes and begged bitterly, Mr. Li, this is the only relative I have. Please let him go. Susu is willing to work like a slave to repay Mr. Li's kindness. As Susu spoke, she bent her knees and knelt on the ground. Her pale fingers grasped the corner of Li Jing's clothes tightly, fearing that Li Jing would shoot the master to death. Oh, didn't you just say you hated him? Li Jing smiled slightly and looked at Susu who was kneeling on the ground. Mr. Li, I hate him, but this does not deny that he is my brother. Susu, I beg you, just spare his life. Li Jing did not answer Susu's words, but turned to look at the master who was knocked to the ground. Master, your sister's plea means nothing to me, and your life means nothing to me. Do you think it is necessary for me to keep you? Mr. Li, I don't want to die. Please. Seeing Li Jing's narrowed eyes, the master was startled and immediately changed his words. I know, I can help Mr. Li. I understand all the situations in Shanghai. I understand all the official rules in Shanghai. Mr. Li, I will do my job well. I will show the value of my existence. Okay. Li Jing waved his hand to interrupt the master's nonsense. Your life can be temporarily left to you, but it depends on how you perform in the future. Otherwise, I will. Thank you, Mr. Li. Thank you, Mr. Li. The master repeatedly made promises to save his life. When he saw Li Jing waving his hand to signal the men to put away their guns, the master quickly stood up and bowed to thank them. Susu, who was standing beside him, almost burst into tears and laughed. The master's formal surrender also meant that the Shanghai underground overlord, the Axe Gang, had become a thing of the past and had completely disappeared. After Li Jing took over all the territories of the Axe Gang, he relied on these places to develop his own power day by day. 2 months passed in a flash, and the headquarters of the Cobra Gang also moved from the farm in the countryside to the city center. The Crocodile Gang calmed down. Perhaps they had given up after a long search for the whereabouts of the gold, or perhaps they had found some clues and were preparing to brew a bigger storm. Huttilda Li Jing had never stopped practicing the five elements fist. Although it was not an advanced technique, it could at least strengthen the body and lay a good foundation. Jing, you must be tired. Take a break. Come, sit down and have a cup of tea. Su took a white towel, pulled Li Jing to sit down, and wiped the sweat off Li Jing with a smile on her face. Li Jing curled her lips slightly. Why do they say that women are fickle animals? When they beg you, they call you Mr. Li. When they flirt with you, they call you good brother. Now they call you Jing. I guess they will shout bastard and shit when they quarrel. After drinking a sip of tea, Li Jing went downstairs to continue practicing the five elements fist. This set of exercises is divided into 3 books. One is the 5 elements fist for practicing upper limb ability, and then the leg technique secret book 8 diagram steps. The last one is an external skill, similar to the iron shirt. Li Jing is not going to practice this last one. The word useless means useless, not to mention that even if you practice to the highest level, you can't block bullets. Li Jing can't afford such conditions that require decades of hard practice to achieve. Sir, there is news. Oh? Seeing the master walking quickly towards him, Li Jing stopped practicing, took the towel handed to him by Susu, and while wiping himself, he asked, what news? The crocodile gang has made a big move. The news says that the crocodile gang is gathering people and saying that they want to do a big deal. In order to ensure the safety and smoothness of this transaction, the crocodile gang has gathered thousands of people on standby. What deal? When? Li Jing took a sip of tea and continued to ask. The lawyer adjusted his glasses and said, it should be opium. As for the specific time, we don't know yet, but it will be a matter of 1 or 2 days. Li Jing frowned and said in a cold voice, check it for me. I want to know the specific time, the specific place, and the specific goods. Who is the other party in the transaction? All these must be figured out. Do you need me to teach you how to do things? Li Jing glared at him, and the lawyer was startled. Yes, I'll go down and check it carefully. Mr. Li, do you have any other instructions? Tell brothers Das Han and Dolly to let them be prepared. Also, ask them to prepare a batch of explosives. Maybe they will be useful. Okay. Then I'll go down first. The lawyer bent down and stepped back. He felt that serving Li Jing was much more difficult than serving Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen's temper was unpredictable. He would turn his face and beat people at will. But Li Jing, who doesn't beat or scold, will take people's lives. And it is difficult to fool this person like he fooled Zhang Chen. It's not that Li Jing is too smart, but his eye for finding faults is simply unmatched. And this is the most fatal. Jing, brother is a person who is easily confused. Don't take it to heart. Susu added water to Li Jing, lowered her head and advised softly, are you still afraid that I will eat your brother? Li Jing knew Susu's concerns, fearing that he would kill his master again if he was unhappy. Li Jing pinched Susu's face and continued, looking at your brother's appearance, let alone eating him, I'm full just by looking at him. Hateful. Susu stretched out her hand to knock off Li Jing's hands that were doing something wrong. It was unclear whether she was talking about Li Jing's words or his hands that were doing something wrong. Li Jing smiled slightly, waved his hand to signal Susu to stay alone, and Li Jing began to practice boxing again. Martial arts rely on proficiency. As the saying goes, if you practice 1,000 times, all methods will appear. If you practice boxing 1,000 times, you will change as you wish. There is no shortcut to this kind of thing, unless you are a martial arts genius like Axing who can explode when you are beaten. Unfortunately, Li Jing is not. After more than 2 months of development and with the strong support of a lot of funds, Cobra is now a completely different company. The number of internal staff alone has reached 500, and they have been screened through various levels. The number of external members is even greater, at least 2,000. However, it is still far behind the Crocodile Gang, which has tens of thousands of members. It is estimated that the current Cobra has become a thorn in the eyes and flesh of the Crocodile Gang. They will not be happy unless they get rid of it. In the evening, the master hurried over again. Sir, the news has been found out. Go ahead. The Crocodile Gang has contacted a big seller and wants to import a batch of opium into Shanghai. I heard that there is also a batch of arms on the ship coming here. The seller is a foreigner, a British man. Li Jing nodded. When will the ship arrive? Where is the transaction? Chapter 16, Alligator Battle. The cargo ship will arrive tomorrow, and the transaction will be done tonight. As for the location, it is indeed unknown. It should be that the crocodile gang has not revealed it yet. Fearing that Li Jing would get angry, the master spoke more cautiously. Well, send someone to keep a close eye on it, and report immediately once there is a definite transaction location. Li Jing threw down the boxing manual that he had read dozens of times and said casually, "Yes, Mr. Li." The master paused. "Oh, by the way, the gangster accusing you asked to keep an eye on, and the mute girl selling ice cream have been found." "Oh?" Li Jing's heart moved, and then said, "What's their current situation?" "That accusing and a fat man do nothing all day long, just messing around, and the mute girl is hard-working, pushing ice cream to the street every day to sell, which can be regarded as self-reliant." Although he was very confused about Li Jing's purpose in looking for these people, the master still followed the idea that the master said that the servant would do it, and did things properly, trying not to make any mistakes. "Well, continue to send people to watch them. Don't disturb them, and don't let them find out that they are being followed. Remember, I want to understand their situation in all aspects. If there is any special incident, report back immediately." "Okay, Mr. Li." Seeing Li Jing waving his hand, the master automatically bent down and walked away. Things were finally on the right track. Li Jing tapped the table lightly with his fingers. Perhaps it was because of the growing power in his hands, or perhaps it was because of the increasing majesty. Li Jing, dressed in black, looked more and more cruel. Joining the gangs and conquering the world, these were not Li Jing's goals. His idea was to eliminate Xing's chance of awakening from the root. Xing, who was just an ordinary person, could always be solved, but if he waited until the extinct Axe Gang invited the Fire Cloud Evil God to blow Xing up and make him awaken, then there would be nothing he could do. Although the Crocodile Gang has been getting calmer in the past 2 months, it has been in constant friction with the emerging Cobra. Although there has been no major fighting, it is estimated that it is only a matter of time. In this transaction, the Crocodile Gang also brought a batch of arms ashore, which is probably aimed at the growing Cobra. "Are you preparing to uproot them in one fell swoop?" Li Jing smiled slightly. Passive attack has never been his style. Taking the initiative is the way to win. The Crocodile Gang is a big family and business, and they don't know how to restrain themselves. Such a blatant action can probably be detected by anyone who is not a fool. Time flies by. Shanghai is peaceful, but only a few people know that it will be bloody soon. In this era, the most abundant thing is manpower. As long as you have money, you can pull out a decent team in minutes. It is estimated that the original Axe Gang made its fortune by relying on tobacco and entertainment, and then quickly pulled out the Crocodile Gang and sat on the position of the underground overlord of Shanghai. "Sir, the brothers are all here." Wang Dashan walked to Li Jing and reported with his head down. "Yes." Li Jing nodded and asked, "Are you ready for the surprise for the Crocodile Gang?" "Haha, it's all done, sir, please rest assured, the Crocodile Gang will be overjoyed," Wang Dashan replied in a low voice, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. He was originally a coolie who worked hard all day to make ends meet, but now he has become a wealthy man. Li Jing looked at the time. It was already 10 o'clock in the evening. When he arrived at the destination, he would just catch up with the main event. "Well, let's go." "Okay." Wang Dashan agreed and turned to tell the convoy to go. Li Jing stepped into a black car. The entire convoy of dozens of cars stepped on the accelerator and roared away. This convoy was only a part of the Cobra Gang. The rest of the gang members had already divided into several groups to surround and kill the Crocodile Gang's territory. The Crocodile Gang boss had gone out to trade, and the watchdog left behind was his trump card. If there was no way out, the Crocodile Gang would never fall. Even if the Crocodile Gang boss was killed, there would be a second and third leader. The convoy sped along the way. After 2 hours, it was very close to the Crocodile Gang's trading location. The convoy slowly turned off and stopped. Li Jing frowned while sitting in the car. Could a huge gang leader really be so stupid? Even if the Cobra's actions were more secretive, the actions of thousands of people would always be exposed. However, the crocodile gang did not react at all. Was it because they were too confident and did not take the cobra seriously at all? Or has the trap been set up and the cobra is waiting to get in automatically? Li Jing frowned and thought. He was more inclined to the latter. How could a gang that could sit on the throne of the first underground in Shanghai not have some real skills? If he really treated the crocodile gang like in the movies and let people do whatever they want to him, needless to say, it is estimated that his side will definitely die. Wang Das-han, who was standing outside the car, knocked on the window. When the window was rolled down, Wang Das-han said, "Sir, we are here. Do you see? Is the stalker here?" "Yes," Wang Das-han replied. "What did he say?" "The crocodile gang has already started to contact." But, Wang Das-han hesitated a little. Li Jing frowned. "Just what?" "Just say it." "Yes." The people who were following found that the number of people in the crocodile gang seemed to be a little strange. Originally, they should have more than 1,000 people. But there are only 200 people around the leader of the crocodile gang, and the brothers are afraid of being discovered, so they dare not search on a large scale. "So I'm afraid the crocodile gang has already noticed us." "Yeah," Li Jing responded. This was not beyond his expectation. He just didn't know what the specific trap arranged by the crocodile gang was. After thinking about it, Li Jing continued, "Is the boss of the crocodile gang in the range of our trap?" "There is a slight distance, but if we can't kill him, we can at least seriously injure him." "Yeah, this is also good news." Li Jing breathed a sigh of relief. It is not a problem to alert the crocodile gang, and it is not a problem for the crocodile gang to set traps. If the crocodile gang can also know the explosives arranged by our side, then the problem will be big. Apart from anything else, there must be problems with the internal personnel of the Cobra, but the crocodile gang has not noticed it yet, so the current situation is already a little comforting. "Let's proceed as planned." Li Jing waved his hand. "Yes." Wang Das-han hesitated a little, but still answered quickly. Wang Das-han turned around to make arrangements. Li Jing knew his concerns. He knew that the crocodile gang had already made preparations, but he still implemented the original plan. This was basically a trap to attack the crocodile gang with human lives, but it was also the most direct, violent, fastest and most effective means. It just depends on whether he can be so cruel. Chapter 17, 1041. Boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde. A series of explosions were heard, followed by the sound of gunfire and crossfire. Occasionally, you could hear screams mixed in. Various sounds came from afar, and Li Jing sat in the car expressionless and said nothing. For life, for death, for face, as long as people are alive, their desires will not stop. Li Jing is no exception. Selfishness is his nature. As long as the people he cares about are safe, who cares about the floods of outsiders? Li Jing admitted that he was a selfish devil, and the world of heroes was simply out of reach for him. This trading place is an unmanaged beach. The limited buildings around are just a few dilapidated docks. Perhaps they were also supply and repair stations for fishing in previous years, but now they have become a desolate and uninhabited area. The crossfire continued, and the shouts and screams around were deafening. Under the light of the fire, all that could be seen were dead bodies and bright red blood flowing on the ground. "Mr. Li, we are surrounded." The shouting from afar disrupted Li Jing's thoughts. When he turned around, Wang Das-han was already running over with blood all over his face. His left arm was even chopped and bleeding. "Is the leader of the crocodile gang dead?" Li Jing was as calm as ever, which made Wang Das-han a little stunned. He wiped the blood off his face and replied, "No, but he was also seriously injured. He was surrounded by hundreds of brothers and now there are thousands of crocodile gang soldiers outside. The brothers are preparing to break out and can't take care of him at all. Humphrey, notify them. Our reinforcements will arrive soon. Whoever kills the crocodile gang boss will be promoted to the second in command of Cobra." Li Jing narrowed his eyes, as if he was sure of victory. Wang Das-han was stunned again. He didn't know anything about the reinforcements. Could it be that Li Jing arranged it privately? Without thinking too much, Wang Das-han responded, "Yes, I'll go right away." "Well, Come back after you've notified them. Seeing Wang Dashan turning around to leave, Li Jing gave him another instruction. Wang Dashan's body seemed to be frozen in time as he stood there, but at this moment, he was shocked. He understood everything. There was no reinforcement at all. It seemed that these thousands of brothers had been abandoned, just for the life of the crocodile gang leader. Life or life, or 1,000 to 1. What kind of cold-blooded person would do such a thing? Okay, Wang Dashan agreed with a cold heart, and ran away with a slightly desolate figure. Li Jing sneered slightly. In his opinion, there is no distinction between good and bad people in survival, and there is no need to distinguish between villains and gentlemen in order to achieve the goal. This is just a one-sided display of powerlessness. If Wang Dashan was asked to massacre 1,000 people in the crocodile gang, he would definitely chop them without saying a word. But the question is, are there no good people in the crocodile gang? In the same way, who dares to say that all the people in Cobra are good or bad? These are just mediocre people worrying about themselves. This is a society formed by interests. The way to define good and bad is to see whether it is beneficial to oneself. A murderer is a heinous crime in the eyes of the outside world, but in the eyes of his relatives, he may still be a good husband and a good father. Wang Dashan thinks it is not worth it to exchange 1,000 lives for one life, but in Li Jing's opinion, it is worth it. The scenery you see will be different from different angles. Not long after, Wang Dashan hurried back again. Li Jing opened his eyes and motioned him to get in the car. Is everything done? Everything has been ordered, and most of the brothers have started to work hard. Well, go back. Li Jing's simple words. Thousands of lives will be buried here. The driver dared not say anything. He stepped on the accelerator and the car turned into a black line and disappeared in the night. The car sped all the way back to the headquarters in the city center. Li Jing gave orders again, and while stepping up the capture of the crocodile gang's territory, he sent people to guard the main roads into the city. Even if the crocodile gang leader survived, he would be waiting for a series of surprises. Back in the bedroom, Li Jing was lying on the bed, and suddenly laughed at himself inexplicably. Su next to him was stunned. Jing, what's wrong? Li Jing shook his head. Nothing, I just thought of something fun. What's fun? Tell me. Su came closer and shook Li Jing's arm like a spoiled child. Li Jing suddenly turned over and pressed Su down. Su exclaimed, and Li Jing laughed. No matter how fun it is, it's not as fun as you. What nonsense. Su blushed for a rare time, and wanted to push Li Jing away, but found that she couldn't push him away. Haha, this is a big truth. Before Su could say anything else, Li Jing's mouth came forward and kissed her rosy lips. Self-deprecation. Of course Li Jing would laugh at himself. He was originally an ordinary college student, but he did not expect that under the threat of being wiped out, he would do a series of such crazy things one after another. This was something he had never dared to think about before. Perhaps it was because he lacked the constraints of the real law, or perhaps it was the awakening of the self-demon in his heart. Li Jing's own drastic change was very necessary in his own opinion, because he needed to change. If he could not, he might have been hiding like an ostrich when the Maku incident happened, and the final outcome would definitely not escape the fate of being wiped out. After a night of tossing and turning, Li Jing walked out of the room in the early morning with a refreshed spirit. Wang Dashan and the master were already waiting in the living room. When they saw Li Jing coming out, they hurried forward to greet him. How is it going? Li Jing drank the tea on the table and lit a cigarette casually. We have already taken over most of the territory of the crocodile gang, and the remaining ones are just small characters. It is estimated that in a few days, we can reintegrate the underground forces in Shanghai and become the real overlord. The master's face flushed with excitement, and his words were passionate and generous. Don't do these useless things, talk about something practical. Li Jing frowned and interrupted the master's fantasy, saying in a cold voice. Wang Dashan saw that the master was choked, and said, Sir, the crocodile gang is now a mess, and there is no need to worry at all. The brothers who were sent out to guard the important roads last night sent back news that the leader of the crocodile gang is dead. As for the less than 2,000 people who came back from the crocodile gang, they were all blocked outside the city. Do you want to? Wang Daoshan made a throat-cutting gesture, and Li Jing nodded and said, you decide. I don't want to see the crocodile gang go out and come back. As for the territory, solve it as soon as possible. I want the crocodile gang to disappear completely in 3 days. Yes, sir, the two agreed, got up and walked out of the door. Wang Daoshan, who was walking at the end, opened his mouth but didn't say anything in the end. In his opinion, Li Jing must not be interested in knowing this news. Shaking his head, Wang Daoshan quickly caught up with the master who was leaving. What he wanted to say was that none of the more than 1,000 brothers last night came back. Chapter 18. First meeting with Xing. 3 days passed in a flash. The power of the crocodile gang had already been suppressed to the point where there was little left. Without a leader, the group was scattered and could not form an effective resistance. Today, the Cobra has experienced explosive growth. The number of internal staff alone is already over 1,000, not to mention the number of peripheral members, which is at least 6 or 7,000. Casinos, entertainment centers, tobacco shops, hotels, and all kinds of industries are under the Cobra banner. This is the principle that the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker. In the absence of natural enemies, after several months of hard work, Cobra has finally become the real big brother of Shanghai. In the vast training ground, Li Jing is still practicing the 5 elements fist. There is no shortcut to the perfection of boxing. It can only be integrated through long-term training. Every time Li Jing practices boxing, he can adjust his movements, postures, and strength techniques one more time. This is the so-called water grinding work. There is no martial arts that can make people reach the top in one step. Even Xing, who is 1 in a million, has greatly improved his speed, strength and dynamic vision after breaking through the Ren and Du meridians, so he can exert great power with ordinary punches and kicks. In terms of Xing's skills, he is not comparable to Huoya, an evil god, and the landlord couple. Maybe in terms of skills alone, Xing may not be as good as Cool the King and Yao Zagi. Just like Superman in science fiction movies, when he has superpowers, he is invincible. But when Superman loses his superpowers, he can't even beat an ordinary gangster. This kind of skills that can only be honed by time is what Li Jing wants to have at this moment. For example, Superman and Huang Feng have the same strength and speed, so there is no need to compare their results. Li Jing just wants to be the kind of person who is invincible at the same level. Sir, the people have arrived. Wang Daoshan's words stopped Li Jing, who was practicing the 5 elements fist. Hutodo, where is he? In the lobby. Li Jing nodded and motioned Wang Daoshan to lead the way. It was already March 1940, and the time for the original plot to begin was about to come. Li Jing didn't know if Xing would still awaken without the Axe Gang. He originally wanted to send a few gunmen to kill Xing, who was still an ordinary person, but after thinking about it, he had to give up this naive idea. Xing was beaten in the head by the fire cloud evil god. His bones were broken, and his meridians were broken, but he couldn't die, not to mention a few bullets. It is estimated that if you want to kill him, you can just capture him and cut him up, but there is no guarantee that he will awaken when he is cut up, and then beat the enemy to a pulp. To put it bluntly, Xing is a human nuclear bomb that has not yet been activated. Maybe I was thinking the wrong direction at the beginning. I want Xing to die because he is not good for me when he is alive, but what if I turn him into something good for me? Li Jing thought as he walked. The few of them soon entered the lobby. At this time, the master was also in the lobby. Opposite him sat 2 people, Xing and his fat buddy Fatty Kong. This is our big brother. Why don't you call someone? Seeing Li Jing and others come in, the master stood up quickly and asked Xing and the others to stand up and greet him. Big brother, big brother. Xing in front of him looked very similar to the celebrity Stephen Chow. Li Jing smiled slightly, pressed his hand lightly, and motioned for the 2 to sit down. Xing, right? What's up? Want to join Cobra? Yes, big brother, we have longed for this promising career since we were young, so we have always been motivated to be a bad guy. Big brother, you are our role model. Xing was fidgeting. When he heard Li Jing's question, he stood up and spoke passionately. Haha, bad guy? What do you think bad guys do? Li Jing thought it was very interesting. It felt like Stephen Chow was acting just for you. Well, it was very interesting. Shang was stunned and said, murder, robbery, oh, and rape? Li Jing's face was full of black lines, and he felt his eyelids twitching. He couldn't help but said, what the hell? After taking a breath, the more Li Jing looked at Shang at this moment, the more he felt like a young man with a second-year syndrome. Shang, your thinking is too one-sided. Those people you mentioned are all bad people and gangsters. Doing things without a purpose is the lowest way of doing things. Killing for no reason, or robbing and raping because you have nothing to do. That. Li Jing waved his hand and said, there is no real and absolute good and bad in the world. People are multifaceted animals. A simple bad person may just do things by any means necessary. So, don't go to extremes. Right and wrong, good and bad, these are just processes. In my opinion, as long as the goal is achieved, the means used are useful, and there is no need to distinguish between good and bad. Several people present nodded, no matter whether they admitted these words in their hearts or not. The only thing they were sure of was that Li Jing did not lie. These words were Li Jing's truest opinion in his heart. Shang lowered his head and had an epiphany, while the fat boy Kong next to him just ignored it. In his opinion, it would be better to treat him to a big meal than to say these nonsense. Shang thought for a long time before he looked up and said, brother, what about us? Haha, Cobra is not only good at chopping people. You two come in and take a look first. Thank you, brother, thank you, brother. Shang bowed repeatedly to express his gratitude. He did not expect Li Jing to be so easy to talk to. Joining the gang has been his dream for half his life. Although this dream cannot withstand any test, it is also what he has always pursued. After thanking him repeatedly, Shang saw that the fat boy Kong beside him was still in a daze, so he quickly pulled him and said, are you stupid? Hurry up and thank you, brother. Oh, thank you, brother, thank you, brother. Li Jing waved his hand and said, be casual, don't be so serious, master, you can arrange them. After speaking, Li Jing turned and went back to the inner hall. Wang Daoshan followed him in. He thought about it and asked, sir, these two people look very ordinary. How could you? Haha, if I say that we look like a good match, you will definitely not believe me. Then just treat them as a piece of uncut jade, transforming from a cocoon into a butterfly. Li Jing shook his head and said a few words. If he said that he envied Shang's talent, he really envied it, but it was a pity that such a thing could not be forced. Transforming from a cocoon into a butterfly. Wang Daoshan frowned and thought, but still didn't quite understand. Don't worry about these, remember. Give orders. I want them to only see the good of Cobra. Don't let them touch other things like chopping people and opium. Chapter 19 Tathagatapam. Yes, I will do it, sir. Wang Daoshan agreed, and when he saw Li Jing waving his hand, he automatically retreated. These things are just expedient measures now. What Li Jing needs to do is to control Shang in his own hands. If he can't awaken, he should not awaken. Even if he awakens, he must become his thug. Although Shang said that he wanted to be a bad guy, in fact, to put it bluntly, he was just deceiving himself. He couldn't do anything bad. He would still sympathize with the weak. The fundamental reason why he is in this situation now is just because he has been bullied since he was a child. He suffered a psychological blow, and then he added a layer of protection that looks a little fierce to his appearance. The development of Cobra has been at its peak. In the whole city of Shanghai, there is no individual or group that dares to go against Cobra. The government agencies have also been opened up layer by layer, and have a relationship of interest with the high level above, so these minions below are not worth mentioning. Unfortunately, things often go beyond people's expectations. Li Jing has never been a man of strategic planning and far-sighted thinking. He only deals with the matter at hand and solves the troubles at hand, without considering long-term plans. This is the limitation of his vision and the problem of his own shallow foundation. In a word, he is not deep enough. In the countryside, coughs were heard from a mud house from time to time. Ahem. Brother, don't worry, your injury is so serious that you will only recover after a few months of rest. If you have anything to do, can't you just let us do it? The younger brother in a linen jacket reached out to support the boss who wanted to get out of bed. Bullshit. I'm covered with maggots. Fuck him. This man was the leader of the crocodile gang. He was seriously injured by Li Jing's ambush with explosives, and even his left arm was blown off. Later, in order to escape the crazy killing of thousands of people, he had to find a scapegoat temporarily, and then pretended to be dead on the spot waiting for the rescue. When the fight was over, he found that the city of Shanghai had been raided by Cobra, and all the important roads were filled with people arranged by Cobra to wait and see. With the remaining forces of the crocodile gang, it was not enough to attack Shanghai. In addition, the boss was seriously injured, so he could only temporarily move to a remote countryside to hide and recuperate. The leader of the crocodile gang reached out and pushed his younger brother away, then sat on the edge of the bed, holding his chest. How many people are here now, brother? Things were so serious back then. Many brothers were killed or injured, and the rest were fleeing for their lives. Fuck you. Stop talking nonsense and just say it. Yes, yes. There are less than 200 people in total. Fearing that the boss would get angry, the younger brother in sackcloth clothes quickly replied. Damn it, so few? The leader of the crocodile gang glared, and a scar on his face began to turn red. He opened his mouth to reveal his broken and uneven teeth, which made him look even more ferocious. He cursed loudly and asked, when will the killer arrive? Brother, it will be soon. I have contacted the remaining brothers in the city. We used up our previous capital to hire this killer. They are incredible. They are the best players, known as the #1 on the killer list. The younger brother gave a thumbs up, and the leader of the crocodile gang nodded. Well, let them take action as soon as possible. I can't stay in this broken place for another day. Fuck. Okay, I'll go urge them. The younger brother went out, and the leader of the crocodile gang sat there motionless. He would never forget the hatred that Cobra brought to him. The former glory and wealth seemed to be gone in the blink of an eye, and he was also disfigured, seriously injured, and lost an arm. He almost died without a complete body. He would avenge this hatred even if he had to lose everything and sell his children. Fuck you, you damn Cobra. I'm going to turn you into a dead snake. The leader of the crocodile gang cursed angrily. His face was extremely ferocious, and he slammed his clenched fist on the edge of the bed. In the spacious training ground at the headquarters of Cobra, Li Jing, Master, and A Xing were all here. After a period of training, A Xing's temperament has changed. Compared with his past as a gangster, he is now dressed in a black suit and his hair is combed meticulously. He is dressed like a successful person. A Xing, I heard that you practiced martial arts before? Come on, show me your skills. Li Jing smiled slightly. Although it was a question, his tone did not allow others to refuse. Brother, I have practiced before, but it's just a little trick. A Xing dared to brag to Fatty Kong and act rogue to bad guys, but he was a little undecided when facing Li Jing. This was thanks to what he saw and heard in Cobra, which made him know that gangsters don't always have to fight and bully the weak. Come on, why are you being polite? Just do what the brother tells you to do. Why are you talking so much nonsense? The master pushed A Xing off the court and came to the center. A Xing saw Li Jing still smiling at him, so he didn't say anything. He stretched his hands and feet, and then A Xing started his unique secret book Tathagatapam. Ha ho ha, he told A Xing practiced very seriously. Li Jing was so upset that his head was full of black lines and his eyelids were twitching. Could it be that A Xing graduated from the same school as Zhang Bao? Damn, how come he can automatically dub? I guess they can form a group in the future, and the name will be Exploding Star Legend. A Xing clenched his fist to finish the exercise, and when he looked up, he saw the shocked expressions on the faces of the people present. He raised his head proudly and said loudly, Brother, I have finished practicing. What do you think? Li Jing was stunned. Yeah, not bad. With the demeanor of a master. A Xing, how about you write down the secret book so that I can learn it too? A Xing was also stunned, and the masters and others present were even more stunned. What kind of boxing is this? It feels worse than the rules of gangsters chopping people. It is completely useless and has no lethality. Okay? A Xing suddenly smiled and said with a flushed face, okay, brother is willing to learn. Of course I am willing to give it to you. The excitement on Ah Xing's face was not false. He suddenly felt a sense of happiness, lingering in his heart and spinning in his mind. After so many years, is this a kind of recognition? And it is the recognition of the person who gave him a way out. This is simply too happy. Well, go ahead. Li Jing waved his hand, and Ah Xing and the others nodded and left the training ground. The master, who was left alone, just came to his senses at this moment. Sir, what are you doing? Chapter 20. Heaven and earth are incomplete. Haha. Nothing. Li Jing had no intention of explaining. In fact, the secret book of Rulai Shenjiang was not necessary. Practicing this kind of martial arts required a very high level of comprehension and physical condition of the practitioner, and it was not just ordinary high. Take Ah Xing for example. Before he awakened, he didn't know any martial arts except Rulai Shenjiang. But even so, after awakening, Ah Xing could defeat Huoya, an evil god, without Rulai Shenjiang, without Rulai Shenjiang, not to mention Yango and Xialongnu. This means that as long as one's own skills reach a certain level, the speed and strength will also increase rapidly. Even the simplest punch and kick can exert great power in the hands of such a person. The martial arts of Rulai Shenjiang is like Huang Chong Yang's Xian Shenggong. If the qualifications, comprehension and skills are not up to par, no matter how you practice, you will not succeed. This kind of skills is specially prepared for the masters with high efficiency, high burst and high skill. For example, in the Saint Seiya in the anime, how can a bronze-level person succeed in practicing gold-level fighting skills? 2 days passed in a flash. Li Jing sat in the lobby of the headquarters smoking. He was a little uneasy at the moment. He didn't know why, but his left eyelid kept twitching. Sir, what's wrong with you? Wang Daoshan asked when he saw Li Jing's worried face. Li Jing suddenly put out the cigarette butt in his hand and said in a muffled voice, "It's okay." By the way, how is the acquisition of Xialongcheng's going? It's still the same, except for a few houses that we bought. Most of the remaining properties belong to that damn landlady. She said she would not sell them no matter how much money you give. Sir, you don't let us use force, so she has been dragging it on until now. Wang Daoshan shook his head, still not understanding why Li Jing was interested in those slums. Well, forget it. If you don't want to sell them, then don't sell them. Just send someone to keep an eye on them. Li Jing waved his hand. He didn't expect the landlady to sell the houses because it was almost impossible. Well, I'll arrange it. Wang Daoshan left, and Li Jing sat on the sofa and kept rubbing his eyebrows. What exactly was this feeling of irritability? Was it that something bad was going to happen? Was it a sign? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. Li Jing could only let it go and stop thinking about it. The tasks brought by the tattoo space had no time limit at all, which meant that it was impossible to determine at which step to end the return. Changing history is easy to say, but what is change? To be precise, the early demise of the Axe Gang is already a change of history, right? Li Jing thought about the route he should take in the future, but unfortunately, he was in the game and didn't know the game. The Axe Gang was destroyed, but the Cobra rose. This was just a change of name. The direction of history is not so easy to reverse. If he continues to wait like this, then Li Jing will face the fate of being wiped out in the future. In the evening, Li Jing, who had been thinking for a day, had a headache and had to go back to the room to rest early. Su sat cross-legged at the head of the bed and pinched Li Jing's head. Li Jing squinted his eyes and lay on the bed. After a while, the sound of a slight deep sleep could be heard. Su smiled lightly and stretched out her hand to pinch Li Jing's face. Did she fall in love with the man in front of her? I can't say it. I can't say it myself. Love? It seems that he is too far away from me. Since the moment I became the sister-in-law of the Axe Gang, I already know that in this life, the word love has been far away from me. Maybe it would be better to meet you earlier. Su's fingers gently slid across Li Jing's eyebrows, but there was a trace of inexplicable melancholy on her face. Click, the door made a sound. Who? Su was startled. This was not an emergency, and it was impossible for someone to come and disturb him. Even the master and others would not dare to enter without knocking. Bang! The door lock was violently kicked open. Su was startled, and Li Jing also woke up from his sleep. What's the matter? Jing, Ta da tilde A middle-aged man came into the room. He was wearing a gray robe, a top hat and sunglasses on his head. After entering the room, the sharp eyes behind the sunglasses of the middle-aged man immediately locked on Li Jing, who was sitting on the bed. He smiled broadly. "Boss Cobra? I didn't expect the real person is younger." Li Jing pulled Susu up. But at this moment he was shocked. Dan Kan and Dick, #1 on the killer list, were proficient in many unique skills. Without thinking too much about who the employer behind the scenes was, Li Jing forced himself to remain calm and smiled slightly. "It's me. I wonder if you need my help with anything that makes you visit me so late at night?" Li Jing answered perfunctorily, while pulling the frightened Susu back a few steps unconsciously. The man who came was Dick. He and Dan Kan were both masters of the Three Caves Kin Demon. Dan Kan was the main attacker and Dick was the auxiliary. However, Dick had other martial arts, called Dragon Claw and Slender Finger Hand. When practiced to the highest level, breaking monuments and crushing stones was a piece of cake. Seeing the two men retreating without paying any attention, DK smiled coldly. "Don't waste your time. It's your blessing to meet me. Since you're so young and have made a career, I will leave you an intact body later." "What a joke. It's not certain who will die. I am." As he spoke, Li Jing suddenly took out a submachine gun from space and suddenly appeared like a magic trick. Da tilde The gunfire was so close that DK was still in a daze when the bullets came close. Humphrey. Although DK was shocked, he was not panicked. His skills were profound. Although he could not completely avoid the close-range strafing of the machine gun, his developed dynamic vision allowed him to slightly see the trajectory of the bullets. He risked a few bullets on his left arm and moved in time to avoid most of the dense bullets. I want your life." DK's left arm was injured and bleeding. He gritted his teeth. He didn't expect that he would be injured just by killing an ordinary person. Li Jing kept firing with the machine gun, while DK quickly moved back and forth in this small room to avoid the bullets. Li Jing frowned. He had no bullets left. DK saw a gap, roared, and crossed a distance of 5 or 6 meters in 2 steps. He was close to Li Jing in a breath, and he stretched out a claw with his hand, and the claw wind approached at an incredibly fast speed. Li Jing could only squint his eyes and retreat. DK's sharp nails shone coldly, as if he could tear a person's intestines and stomach apart in the blink of an eye. Bang! The wardrobe behind Li Jing was torn to pieces by DK, and Li Jing, who was just about to avoid it, was still severely scratched on the shoulder. Several deep blood stains immediately flowed out of the torn clothes. Li Jing groaned and pulled Susu to roll over several times. "Boy, you can't escape, so accept your death." Chapter 21, Retreats with Injuries. DK spoke with hatred. The injury on his left arm was a shame to him. Even if he didn't pay, Li Jing would become his must-kill person. Jing, run quickly, don't worry about me anymore." Susu's tears fell. No one came up for such a long time, so it was estimated that the younger brother below was also in danger. "Don't talk," Li Jing shouted coldly, frowning and thinking about how to escape, but unfortunately DK didn't leave him this time, and the Dragon Claw hand attacked again. Bang! Fight again. Dodge, just one round. Li Jing's abdomen was also injured. Li Jing bent over and panted heavily. He had learned martial arts for too short a time. This kind of master was not something he could deal with. His abdomen had been scratched by DK, not to mention waiting for the next DK attack. Even if this kind of injury lasted for a long time, the bleeding alone would be enough to kill him. Jing, run quickly. Li Jing was in a trance, and Susu rushed forward and hugged DK's legs. Susu get out of the way. Dick struggled violently. Susu turned around, tears streaming down her cheeks. Jing, hurry up. Don't let me die in vain. Dick was only a few steps away from Li Jing, and everything happened too fast. Bang! Wow! Dick kicked Susu, and Susu opened her mouth and spurted out a mouthful of blood, but her hands not only did not loosen, but she hugged tighter. "Fuck you, fuck." Li Jing was not scolding others, but scolding himself for being useless. He suddenly took out a pistol from the space, but before he could pull the trigger, Dick's fingers flicked. Bang! A silver light flashed, and the gun in Li Jing's hand was suddenly blown into pieces. and even his knuckles were injured and bleeding by Dick's hidden weapon. Dick's skills were too high, and he was not in the same class at all. Li Jing had already seen a piece of gold stuck in the wall. Go tilde Su Su desperately hugged DK's legs tightly, and she vomited blood repeatedly, gritting her teeth. She knew that staying would only mean death, so without thinking too much, Li Jing rushed towards the window of the room. The sound of glass breaking and DK's second kick occurred at the same time. Li Jing broke through the window and fell from the second floor. Su Su was kicked again, and blood flowed out of her mouth, but there was no pain in her tearful eyes. Go far away, survive, but I haven't had time to say goodbye. Will this be my love? Unfortunately, it survived too short a time, and there was no time to feel it properly, and I couldn't even look at it twice more. Goodbye. DK struggled to pry apart Su Su, who was still holding on to him, and the body was turned over and tilted to one side. Su Su's face seemed to still have a trace of happiness on her smile. Li Jing fell to the ground, with many wounds on his body and face from the glass. Without hesitation, he got up, covered his abdomen and ran to the parking place. Su Su's life protection made him feel more incompetent. Although they had not known each other for a long time, he did not fall in love with Su Su. Moreover, Li Jing knew that Su Su's dependence on him was not love, but a kind of recognition, a recognition like two orphans meeting. Although it was not a love relationship, Li Jing's hatred did not decrease at all. Selfish people are the most selfish. What belongs to them will never be touched by others. Su Su's behavior ignited the last line of fire in Li Jing's heart. Change history, haha, you are all going to die. Tilde with a roar. Li Jing's face became colder and colder. DK behind him chased him again. Li Jing quickly got into a car, started the engine, stepped on the accelerator and drove on the road. Buzz squeaked tilde after chasing for a while. DK had to stop. The car left all the way. He was a kung fu master, but he could not catch up with the car at high speed. HMPH, you're lucky. DK used his internal energy to stop the bleeding and swung his sleeves coldly. Li Jing stepped on the accelerator without stopping until he drove through more than 10 streets before arriving at a more remote Cobra branch. The wound on his abdomen was bleeding too much, and Li Jing felt his vision begin to blur. He stopped the car and got out of the car, holding his abdomen. A younger brother had seen him running over. Brother, what are you doing? Stop talking nonsense and call someone. Yes. The younger brother didn't dare to be vague and wanted to send a signal directly. Li Jing interrupted him with a slap. Do you think I'm dying too slowly? Run there, and remember to bring something to stop the bleeding. Oh, okay. The younger brother turned around and ran into the branch. Li Jing opened the car door and sat back down. He couldn't stay in the center of Shanghai anymore. It was not safe. No matter how many ordinary people there were, they couldn't stop a master like Tianqin DK. It seemed that there was only one place he could go. In a few minutes, a large group of black-clad brothers came out and surrounded Li Jing in the center, each holding a weapon and ready for battle. Li Jing sat in the car and asked the brothers to bandage his wounds. DK's dragon claw hand was really powerful. A piece of meat was grabbed off Li Jing's abdomen, and almost the entire belly was pierced, revealing the intestines. Send someone to the headquarters to see if the master and others are still alive, and then call brothers Das Han and Dali to get the weapons ready. Li Jing paused slightly and frowned. Drive. Let's go to Xiaolong City now. Yes, big brother. The younger brother turned around to make arrangements. The driver got in the car and started the ignition. The many younger brothers around the car also set off together. Li Jing sat in the back seat with his eyes closed, and his pale face looked even colder. Susu, rest in peace. Li Jing, will make them pay you back with interest for what I owe you. The convoy set off, with hundreds of black-clad men, and the scene was quite spectacular. Unfortunately, these scenes were not worth mentioning in the eyes of masters. Li Jing also understood this truth and never let down his vigilance. Perhaps in the eyes of Tan Kandik, an ordinary person was not worth assassinating twice in one day. The convoy arrived directly at Xiaolong City safely and without any incident. Li Jing asked his men to wait outside and only let a dozen people to live in the house he had bought before. It was already past midnight. The appearance of such a large group of people by Li Jing disturbed the peace and tranquility in the city. Most of the poor people woke up from their sleep and watched the vicious gangsters break in through the window cracks. Unfortunately, no one stood up to say no, not because they didn't dare, but because they were afraid of causing trouble. Li Jing's wound was not too fatal, he just lost too much blood and was tired. Under the protection of his men, he rested for a while, and it was already early morning. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. The wooden door opened, and it was Wang Dashan and his brother who came in. When they saw Li Jing lying injured on the recliner, they were both shocked. They didn't expect that there would be someone who would dare to take action against the powerful boss of Cobra. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22. Kuzu. Sir, this, nothing, just a killer. As for the person behind this, you still need to investigate. No matter who it is, I will make him pay the price. Li Jing clenched his fists, and the pain in the wound made him frown again. Don't worry, sir. We will take care of this matter. We will definitely find this guy for you. Yes, Li Jing nodded slightly. Sir, then you were here? Wang Dashan was very puzzled by the place Li Jing chose to recuperate. Li Jing shook his head and replied, don't worry about these. How is the master? Oh, the master is fine. He was not at the headquarters last night. It's just what? Li Jing asked. It's just that Miss Susu can't be saved. Wang Dashan was afraid of Li Jing's blame, so he lowered his head and replied, oh, I see. Li Jing nodded. He had expected this a long time ago. DK's skill was too high. How could an ordinary woman bear it? Li Jing waved his hand and said, go, find out the employer behind the scenes, and we'll talk about the rest later. Yes, Wang Dashan agreed and turned to go out, leaving Wang Dali alone to wait for Li Jing's orders. Li Jing thought for a while and said, Dali, where is Xing? Sir, he is outside. Do you want to call him in? Wait a little while. You come first. Li Jing waved his hand and motioned Wang Dali to come forward and whisper. Li Jing whispered in Wang Dali's ear, and Wang Dali nodded from time to time. After a while, Wang Dali also pushed the door and went out, while Lei Xing and others who were waiting outside were called in. Brother, well, Xing, you have been in the gang for a while, how do you feel? Li Jing asked with a smile. Xing was slightly stunned, but still replied, well, that's right, it's a little different from what I thought. Li Jing laughed. He understood what Xing meant. In Xing's eyes, bad guys only robbed, raped and robbed, but since joining Cobra, Li Jing showed him some one-sided good things. Xing, you have to know that doing evil blindly will not end well, and those evil things are also based on interests, making money quickly, making big profits, and having a lot of pleasure. So there are so many people rushing to do these illegal things, but unfortunately these are not long-term solutions. So if you want to make the gang bigger and stronger, blood is indispensable, but it is not the most important thing. You have to learn more about these things. Li Jing was originally younger than Xing, and his face was more delicate, and it was quite different from Xing's uncle face. But the people in the room did not feel that there was anything wrong with the preaching style of these big brothers. Yes, big brother, I remember it. Well, that's good. From now on, you are the second in command of Cobra. Well, what? Second in command, big brother? Several people were shocked. The current Cobra is not just a few big cats and kittens, it is the real underground overlord of Shanghai. As soon as Li Jing said this, Xing became a big man who was second to none, like a rocket. This is the real step to heaven. What? Am I dead? Words don't work? Li Jing glanced around coldly. The people who looked at Li Jing couldn't help but lower their heads, not daring to refute. Xing opened his mouth and had to say, big brother, Xing, you do what I say. Learn it first, and then we can talk if it doesn't work. Li Jing waved his hand to interrupt Xing's words. not allowing others to resist at all. Shang had no choice but to agree first. Fatty Kong, who was with him, was so happy that he lost his mind. They went out in a daze. They couldn't figure out Li Jing's intention. They felt that Li Jing seemed to want to pass on the throne, but it was not the time yet. Li Jing's injury was not too serious, and he was still so young. The matter of passing on the throne was even more outrageous than pie in the sky. After they went out, Li Jing sat there and smiled slightly. Shang was a nuclear weapon and must be used. This was the last means of saving his life. Letting Shang be the second in command had two extreme meanings. One was to tie him to the chariot of Cobra and let him work hard. As for the other, it was best not to use him. After a day of recuperation, Li Jing felt much better. When night came, it was estimated that tonight would be another sleepless night. Thump. You're coming so fast. It seems that Dan Kandak will not give up until he achieves his goal this time. Li Jing got out of bed and opened the door without caring about his coat. Dead bodies. All he could see were dead bodies. There were thousands of his brothers outside, and now nearly half of them have been killed by Dan Kandak. It was too fast, so fast that it was much easier than killing chickens and sheep. Thousands of people were beaten back step by step, and they couldn't even send someone to report the news. Stop! With a loud shout, the fighting crowd in the field paused. Li Jing stood on the high platform. The brothers below saw that it was their big brother who was shouting, and they all showed joy on their faces. They finally found their backbone. Boy, today is the day you die. You can't escape. Dick's left arm had been bandaged, but his hatred for Li Jing did not decrease at all. Ha ha ha. My death date. Brothers, light the torches. Roar. Roar. Li Jing waved his hand, and the 700 people in the field roared in response. The torches were lit, the flames shone, the surrounding darkness was driven away, and the open space of Pig Cage City was suddenly as bright as day. Want my life? Look carefully at your feet first. Li Jing sneered, and the heavens and the earth all lowered their heads. The ground under their feet was wet, and a smell of gasoline emanated from the air. The ground underground was obviously renovated, and the fuses were wrapped in the topsoil. They were about to be exposed, and they felt densely packed, as if thousands of earthworms were wriggling. Do you think I knew you were coming, but I didn't make some preparations? A large amount of high explosives have been buried in the area of several thousand meters. The value of these explosives alone is more than 300,000 yuan. I just don't know if you can accept this gift I prepared for you. Dan Kan and Ik were sweating profusely. There were more than 700 people holding torches. Even if you could kill them all at once, you couldn't stop the torches from falling. The landlady and her husband who were watching the show upstairs were also horrified. They saw the actions of the Cobra during the day, and packages of things were buried underground. Unfortunately, one thing was that they didn't know what was in the package at the beginning, and the other was that they didn't intend to be the first to do it, but they didn't expect that a carelessness would cause a disaster. Consumption required for refining. Chapter 23 Dynamite Feast. Are you going to die together? Then why don't you find another place? Isn't this a disaster that fell from the sky? And it just happened to hit my head. Are you crazy? Your brother wants to die with you? DK asked loudly, trying to sow discord. Ha ha. Li Jing laughed loudly and said, Brothers, look at the corpse on the ground and answer him. Are you afraid? Are you willing to drag them to hell together? Ha ha. Ha ha. Don't be afraid. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell. The voices became more and more uniform, and the deafening sound spread like a sound wave, forcing Dan Kan and Ik to retreat together. They were sweating coldly. They were crazy. A group of people were crazy. HMPH. Li Jing snorted coldly, turned his head to look at the landlady and her husband who were peeking, bowed slightly, and said in a loud voice, Yango, Zialongnu, I've long heard of your names. The landlady who was watching the show upstairs was stunned. You know us? Li Jing shook his head and did not answer directly. Now the only ones who can solve this problem are you. If you can take action to cripple these two people, then I will immediately dig out the explosives and leave here. Otherwise, the Pig Cage village will be destroyed with me. We don't want to get involved in your grievances. Please leave. Then let's die together. Li Jing interrupted the landlady's nonsense and made the final conclusion directly. The landlady wanted to say something, but was stopped by her husband, the thin landlord, who advised her, stop talking. Do you really want to watch Pig Cage Village blown up to the sky? What about the residents here? That's not possible. Isn't there no way? Can you deal with 700 torches at the same time? Even the lion roar kung fu can't do it. This, Li Jing said at this time, 2 heroes, 10 minutes. You only have 10 minutes. If you don't take action. Li Jing suddenly took out a cigarette, lit one, smiled slightly, and threw the lighter that had not yet been extinguished from the platform. No, stop it, boy, you dare. Fuck, lunatic. Everyone was horrified. Even the nearest genius had no time to use his power to knock out the lighter. In the air, a weak flame flickered. At this moment, it attracted thousands of eyes present. The poor people who were hiding in the house and peeking at it held their breath and stared at the flying and spinning lighter without blinking. Swish tilde snap tilde a bamboo stick came and knocked the lighter that had just landed on the ground out. The lighter flew into the air and landed on a brick and tile, and the flame had already been extinguished by the force. Thousands of people breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. It was too damn thrilling. If the gasoline on the ground was ignited, no one in this area would survive. Is it the master of Wulang Bagua stick? Ugi? Li Jing smiled slightly. You too. There are still 5 minutes. The landlady was almost furious. How did you calculate the time? Just now I said 10 minutes, let alone 5 minutes. Not even 1 minute has passed. Okay. 3 minutes left, Li Jing said, leaning on the railing and flicking the ash on the ground. Boy, even if I die, I will take your life first. Dan Kandik couldn't stand it anymore. He had seen rampant people, but he had never seen such rampant people. Who is the martial arts master? Who is the killer who has the upper hand? Who is the real winner? Crazy. This is a real lunatic. 10 seconds. Dan Kandik wanted to play with the instrument again, and Li Jing blurted out 2 words without caring. The landlady and her husband looked at each other and nodded together. The meaning was self-evident. Ding tilde a note was about to sound, and the landlord Yango had already appeared beside Dan Kandik. He casually placed his hands on their shoulders. Dan Kandik was shocked. Master, this is a real master. I didn't expect that all the nonsense Li Jing said before was true. The landlord and his wife were really masters in seclusion. I'm sorry, both of you. As he spoke, the landlord used the Tai Chi power to lock Dan Kandik tightly. Practicing Tai Chi requires a calm mind. When you practice to the highest level, you can add a domain to your body, forming a unique Tai Chi yin and yang aura. The landlord is just barely touching the threshold of the domain. Snap-a tilde Dan Kandik is a long-range mage and archer. After being approached by the landlord, who is a close combat master, the 2 were defeated almost without any resistance. Boy, that's enough. The landlord knocked Dan Kandik to the ground, but did not kill him. As Li Jing waved his hand, a dozen of his men quickly stepped forward and tied up Dan Kandik on the ground. In order to prevent the 2 masters from breaking free, they almost tied them up like dumplings. Master Yang, I wonder if you can teach me Tai Chi? Li Jing got off the platform and smiled at the landlord. What do you think? Aren't you afraid that I will threaten you with explosives? Will you risk your life for Tai Chi? The landlord asked back. No. Li Jing smiled and did not force it, but he continued. What do you think will happen to the things I'm eyeing? Oh, how many? The landlord listened as if he was joking. He felt that an ordinary person who didn't know how to restrain himself and played tricks in front of a master was no different from a clown looking for death. First, it belongs to me. Second, it will be destroyed by me. As for the third, I will kill it if I die. Li Jing narrowed his eyes. As for a master with too many flaws will not live long. He has too many weaknesses. The landlord laughed. So you want to die here? Don't worry, I won't stop you. Li Jing did not reply immediately. He turned around as if to leave, but stopped after a few steps and said, Hero, you have too many weaknesses. Either hand over Tai Chi or fight to the death. Otherwise, you will lose everything you care about. Threat? The landlord, who was almost furious, was about to teach Li Jing a lesson, but he stopped after taking a step. There was no other way. More than 700 torches and the explosives on the ground connected the life of the entire pig cage village. Now was not the time to vent his anger. The landlord thought for a while, then suddenly smiled, as if he had figured something out, and said, "Okay, I can give you the Tai-Chi boxing manual, but boy, you have to promise me that you will never disturb the peace here again." "Okay." Li Jing turned around and agreed. The landlord turned around and walked to the landlady's window, raised his head and said, "Wife, throw down my boxing manual." "Old man, how can you promise? This is not passed on." Chapter 24, The Tragedy of the Pig Cage. "Okay, listen to me, bring it here." The landlord winked, and the landlady was stunned. Then she said nothing more and turned back to find the boxing manual. It didn't take long. Li Jing smiled as he touched the old boxing manual. "You also got the boxing manual. I hope you can keep your promise. If there is nothing else, then please, take care. I won't see you off." The landlord extended his hand to see him off, and Li Jing didn't say much, put away the boxing manual, turned around and left. A group of more than 700 people suddenly got busy in batches. Some followed Li Jing, some cleaned up the bodies, and some dug out the explosives. The landlord was relieved to see this. The matter was finally over, and he didn't have to worry about being blown up in the sky while sleeping. He smiled and went home leisurely. The landlady had been waiting in the house for a long time. When she saw the landlord coming back, she asked him bluntly, "What's wrong with you? You just handed the boxing manual to him so easily? That man is a gangster boss. Do you want to help him do evil? Are you done?" The landlady was stunned. "I'm done." "Well, it's my turn then." The landlord sat down with his legs crossed, and said, "That guy is just an ordinary person. It takes at least 10 years to practice Tai Chi, and that's for people with good aptitude. With this time, I can steal or rob and get it back, right?" "Steal? Rob?" The landlady glared at him. "You've done a lot of stealing and robbing before, right? Otherwise, how could you be so familiar with it?" The landlord immediately softened and defended himself hurriedly. "How is it possible? I'm not that kind of person." "Huh, I don't care if you are or not, you idiot. Even if you steal the boxing manual back, people have seen it. People with better memory can copy 10 or 8 copies for you. Look at that guy again. Does he look like a fool?" The landlord was really dumbfounded this time. What should he do? Really kill him to prevent the boxing skills from leaking out? But this is basically impossible for chivalrous morality. Not to mention the landlord's regret and entanglement. Li Jing had already left Pig Cage City a few kilometers away by car. With Li Jing's wave of his hand, the convoy received the order to slowly stop. "Sir." Wang Dali got out of the car and opened the door for Li Jing. Well, Li Jing got out of the car and took a deep breath. Was he becoming more and more cold-blooded? Now he has begun to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. "Are you ready?" "It's ready, sir." "Well, let's start." "Yes." Wang Dali bent down and stepped back, turning around to make arrangements. Li Jing lit a cigarette and thought while smoking. What he wanted was to return safely, and the task of the tattoo space was to change history. Simply put, the original plot ended with the victory of the righteous side. If we want to make changes, does it mean that we just need to eradicate justice and promote evil? As for the safety of this world, selfish people never think about these. Suddenly, the sky seemed to be bright, and a few kilometers away, the sky was red like a fire cloud. Boom 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 boom, a series of explosions were heard, which made people feel deafening from a distance. Then the ground shook slightly, and a wave of shock waves came to the front. Li Jing squinted his eyes and watched coldly. Pig Cage Village? I'm afraid it has been reduced to ashes. Reality is reality, and movies are movies. Li Jing has long felt that the masters of Pig Cage Village are really bored. If they want to live in seclusion, they should live far away. They always hang around the behemoth like Shanghai. Are they courting death or unwilling to decline? Sir, everything has been done, but Wang Dali's hesitation made Li Jing frown. Just say it. Yes. The second in command is missing. Wang Dali lowered his head and responded. Second in command? Ah Shing? Li Jing was stunned and said to himself. He's gone? Where could he have gone? Sir, When we pretended to dig for explosives before, the second-in-command looked strange, and then he even wanted to stop us. If it weren't for the order you gave personally, then, fuck, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? Li Jing glared and interrupted Wang Dali's report with a stern voice. How could Xing, who had a hidden sense of justice in his heart, watch innocent people being blown to death and do nothing? Sir, we too. Fuck, Li Jing yelled, clenched his fist and slammed it on the front of the car. Now things are in trouble. At the beginning, I was only thinking about talking nonsense with the landlord and making up a boxing routine. Due to a negligence, I forgot to send Xing away in advance. If I had known this would happen, I might as well try to kill Xing in advance. Now, the opposites and enemies are fighting to the death? Damn it, go back. Li Jing suddenly opened the car door and ordered the driver to drive. After thinking for a while, he said to Wang Dali outside the car, call someone to bring another group of brothers over. Remember to let them bring heavy weapons. Yes. The convoy started and returned to the pig cage village along the original route. At this time, the village was already full of flames, and several dilapidated buildings had collapsed into ruins. Life was not worth mentioning at this moment. Death was everywhere here. It was as if the end of the world was coming. Everything in the pig cage village would be turned into charcoal under the raging fire until it was reduced to ashes. The fire burned for more than half a night, and it was not until the early morning that the flames were extinguished. At this time, the green smoke above the ruins rose into the sky, as if it was the ethereal soul that was still nostalgic for the human world, going around and around, non-stop. Search for me. With an order, thousands of people rushed into the ruins together, and the shovels and steel forks kept clanging. The digging and searching work officially began. Li Jing watched coldly from the side. He was indeed confused before. The killer's pursuit, the death of the person beside him, the unclear employer behind the scenes, and the ultimate mission that made him feel at a loss. All of these were stressful. With so many pressures gathered together, it was understandable that he did something crazy. But Li Jing did not regret slaughtering the pig cage village. He just did not take into account Xing's attitude, which led to more cruel tests in the future. Thousands of people were busy digging for several hours, but except for some bodies that were burned to charcoal, nothing else was found. Sir, I didn't find it. Although the appearance of the bodies cannot be identified, there is no second-in-command among them. Well, Li Jing's face became colder, and he continued to ask, are there any bodies of the landlady and her husband? No. Li Jing did not answer, turned around and left. No need to waste time anymore. It seems that he still underestimated these masters. He thought that hundreds of thousands of dollars of explosives were enough to kill anyone. Unfortunately, the masters did not kill anyone, but only slaughtered a group of useless poor people. Is this to attract hatred? This has become a fight to the death. Chapter 25. The beginning of the decisive battle. Li Jing laughed at himself. Although he didn't regret it, he made a wrong move. Since he couldn't make up for it, he might as well go for it. He was just going down this road until the end. What was there to be afraid of? It was too early to tell who would win. The convoy drove all the way to the city center. Li Jing returned to the lobby of the Cobra headquarters. Everything here was the same as when he left. There was no change at all. Unfortunately, things had already changed. It was only 2 days, but Li Jing felt as if a long time had passed. The enemy was coming. Everything seemed like flowers in the mirror and the moon in the water. They were illusory and visible but not real. Old man, are you okay? He won't die. Just superficial injuries. But this kid is in trouble. All his bones are broken, his tendons are destroyed, and 99% of his skin is burned. It's a miracle that he can still survive. Well, I didn't expect that we were rescued by an accomplice of the enemy. It seems that he is also a person with a conscience and can be saved. Unlike the leader, he is simply inhumane and has no humanity. Hundreds of innocent lives were ruined by him in one day. Well, there is no point in saying more. We will avenge the dead. Blood debts must be paid with blood. The landlord was obviously extremely angry. He clenched his fists and exuded a strong murderous aura. This was the first time in his life that he wanted someone's life so strongly. Old man, look. As the landlady pointed, the landlord looked up and saw that Xing, who was wrapped like a dumpling in the corner, suddenly changed. The landlord was very surprised. Such a serious injury. Not only did he not die, but he also recovered in such a short time. Is our medicine too magical? The landlady shook her head and said, medicine is just auxiliary. The key is his own body system. Ordinary people simply don't have this possibility. The landlord was stunned, turned his head and looked at the landlady, and said, unless he is 1 in a million, a cocoon becomes a butterfly. At the headquarters of Cobra, Li Jing sat cross-legged in the training field. In front of him were 4 secret books, 5 elements boxing, 8 diagrams footwork, Tai Chi boxing, and Tathagatapam. Although the secret books are good, it's a pity. Li Jing smiled bitterly. The training conditions of these secret books are all very high. They either require qualifications or time. It is impossible to create a master in a short period of time. What Li Jing lacks most is time. Besides, he is not the kind of peerless genius who is picked from thousands of miles away. Li Jing smiled slightly, and then suddenly froze. After a long time, Li Jing's forehead was covered with cold sweat. He figured it out, completely figured it out. The landlady and her husband escaped, and Oshing also betrayed and followed them. Kulikian and Yao Zagi died without even showing their faces. Stan Kandak was caught and imprisoned. There was no good end waiting for them. The next step was to invite the fire cloud evil god from the mental hospital out. Li Jing was sweating. Was all his efforts just a waste of effort? Everything seemed to be back on track. It was just that the Axe gang was eradicated and a new sign was changed. But the development of things returned to the original plot without deviation. What had he done all this time? Those who should die were dead, and those who should live were alive. Did he just add thousands of lives in vain? Li Jing's face was pale, and his body was shaky. The blow to him was too great. It was like a nest of ants, which took several generations to move a huge mountain blocking the door. But in the end, they found that the mountain was just a pile of shit from a giant. Not to mention that there were many shits around that could not be moved. Even if the giant was full, he could build a bigger mountain in the same place in a few minutes. It was just a useless effort. Ha 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 ha. Li Jing laughed wildly until tears came out. After taking a breath, Li Jing's eyes suddenly became colder. Give up? Li Jing, never give up. Waiting to die? Whoever wants my life, I will take the life of his whole family. I can die, but no one else can want my life except myself. Li Jing clenched his fists and flicked his sleeves, put away the secret book and stood up. Fire Cloud evil god, it seems that it is your turn to appear. Come on, come on. When you are all here, Li will give you another big gift. In 3 days, Cobra started to run fast like a complete machine. With Li Jing's relentless efforts, all resources were concentrated in one place. The headquarters of Cobra changed drastically in a short period of time. It was empty, very empty, like a vast warehouse. The warehouse was surrounded by iron walls with dent holes. To transform it to this extent, the number of migrant workers alone reached tens of thousands. For this design, Cobra had already put all its efforts into it. Huoyan evil god had been taken over, and Li Jing had made all preparations to wait for the final battle. In the lobby of the headquarters, the ground was smooth and empty. Hundreds of black-clothed brothers stood in several rows. In this vast place, it was not crowded at all. Huoyan evil god, the world's #1 master, I am sorry for your disrespect. Li Jing bowed to Huoyan evil god, who was wearing a vest, shorts and big slippers. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. You're not bad. You're not bad either. Huoyan evil god stood in the middle of the field with a smile, looking around, as if he was very curious about this place. The purpose of inviting the evil god here today, I think the master has already told the evil god before. Okay, as long as there is a peerless master, I will help you kill one for free. Huoyan evil god still had a smile on his face, and his words were not murderous at all, as if he was just an ordinary old farmer. Okay, for the words of the evil god, all the members of Cobra are grateful. Li Jing bowed slightly, as a salute. At this time, Huoyan evil god ignored Li Jing's words. He turned around, smiled slightly, and said loudly to the empty hall, since the 3 of you are here, why don't you show up and see me? Whoosh 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 tilde dong tilde. 3 figures stood in the field, standing in front of Huoyan evil god. They were Oshing and the landlady. They also brought a big bell with them. The big bell was as tall as a person and extremely heavy. Unfortunately, it was as light as a feather in the hands of a master like the landlady. It seems that only the ultimate killer Huoyan evil god back then could have such a murderous aura, this kind of momentum. Could it be the so-called Condor heroes? Huoyan evil god smiled and glanced at the couple in front of him. Yango, little dragon girl. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.